Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Grappler Union Podcast. Javier Plomo alongside Anthony Zito. Our guest today is Jake Nuesser. Jake is a 10th Planet Brown Belt and is the co-founder of Fight Chix apparel. Enjoy.
It ain't the 6 minutes. It's what happens in that 6 minutes.
You told me using any technique that works. Never to limit myself to one style. Keep an open mind.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
And now we're recording.
We're on air. So I was talking to my wife, Karen, and I'm like, yeah, Jake's going to be on the podcast. She's like, which Jake? I'm like, Fight Chix Jake, of course.
Not Jake from State Farm. God,
no,
I get
clearly
that all the
not.
time
Fucking
too.
asshole. Well, hey,
khakis.
Talking about, she just found out like last night that like Karen is now like a meme on the internet. Where like white ladies complaining about things and wanting to speak to the managers that's totally a meme, and it's Karen. It's always Karen, and she found out. And she's like, should I have not changed my name back to Karen? Because for the longest time she was Carrie.
Well, I mean, Josh's wife is Felicia, and
Right,
it's
bye,
by Felicia. So it's like, oh man, it's a rough one.
That one only comes up periodically though.
Yeah.
Like right now, meme culture is strong with Karen. So
Yeah.
Meme culture. Wow.
Didn't know this was a thing. Like,
Did not know it was a thing.
have you not met your own fair share of memeologists in your
I
day?
have not.
Oh wow, yeah.
Is that a college course you could take now?
Apparently it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you can major in memes.
That's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Dude, my son, he busts out. He's got like an app that he just scrolls through memes. All it is memes, and he sends them to me, and then I post them on the secret page.
Okay.
Because I was like, dude, this is a good one.
That's your
Look at this.
source?
Yeah, Jason, this is my source
There
of
you go.
memes.
You just outed him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like, when can I get on the secret group? I'm like, you have to train more.
That's for sure. For sure. Like,
Is he still training?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
he was
Yeah,
wrestling.
he wrestled last year.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. He let's see, he was 7th grade, and then he wrestled quote unquote varsity, but mainly because they didn't have anyone in his weight class, and they have to fill the mats.
Right. That is my experience as well.
Which I was like, cool, you're gonna get experience because you'll be in matches, and it was good. He had some tough matches, he had some wins, he had some losses, and a lot of experience. And then his team won the whole thing, won whatever the conference. Yeah. So yeah, it was cool.
Nice.
And it was funny because I'd be there. I'm like, what round is it? And it's like, no, periods.
Period.
And like I'm totally
everything's
like
in fight
I'm the
mode, right?
Yeah, I'm like, and then I'm watching. Every time I watch these kids roll or wrestle, I'm like, oh, he could choke him there. He could I'm just totally
for sure.
looking
Right.
out for all the jujitsu stuff, and it's funny.
Right. And you're like, and you want to call out advice, but it'd be the wrong advice because you get hit with unnecessary roughness.
Take his back and choke him.
Armbar. The parents are looking at you like, what is it?
I mean, can you do crucifixes in wrestling?
So there's a lot of positions that cross over between the two, but like your intent has to be very different. Like,
Right. You have to be trying to roll him over instead of like hurt him.
Yeah, you can't double wrist lock somebody. That's actually a barred technique. You can't a Kimura effectively, but you can do what's called a bar arm to like lever someone over to try to turn them from like belly to back, and it looks similar in shape.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a hammer lock, which is again similar to a Kimura, is barred. Despite what most people think, you cannot do full Nelsons in scholastic wrestling.
That's just
but you can do half Nelsons and 3/4 Nelsons and power Nelsons, all of which are predominantly used for control
Who is
and
this
turning.
Nelson?
So there's some interesting history on that, but from what I remember, it's like some kind of like naval captain or something that was famous for wrestling. So yeah, it's like
He invented the full. And
I don't know whether he invented it or
the
whether it's
quarter?
named
Is there-
for
He
him.
just
or
did them
something.
all.
Yeah.
Fucking,
And then-
Nelson was a fucking stud, man.
Yeah, I've heard different explanations of it as well. But yeah, like there's a lot of weird stuff
Maybe
like
he
that.
did like the full, and then people started
when
branching off.
When he did it, perhaps
Kept
it was
the
not
Nelson-
actually
Nelson on it.
like it wasn't. It was just the Nelson,
Right, it was
And then
the
they're
Nelson.
like, well, that's only half of a Nelson.
right,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
That's like a 3/4 Nelson.
Yeah, it's like, come on. You can't even get the full Nelson. Come on, guy.
You can't.
It's like
you
who's
break
this
a
guard
kid's
guy?
neck.
Now there's full guard, half guard, rubber guard.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
Sadly,
same thing.
not. That'd be how awesome would that be? Actually, like
a guard named after you?
all this. No.
No,
I mean,
the
De La
guy-
Riva
the
has a
guard.
guard named after him.
There you
What if all this time we didn't know that?
There's
like,
actually a guy named Guard who like, invented that.
That's his name.
yeah, out there somewhere is a Johnny Armbar. You know.
Is there a Z guard? Is there someone named Z?
No, but the way the Australians say it, because they pronounce Z as Z, it does sound like it's somebody's name, and that totally threw me the first time somebody said Z guard.
interesting.
I had no idea. I'm like, what's a Z? Who's Zed? What's a Z guard? Like, I didn't know it was the same thing,
Right.
Because it wasn't. Actually, well, regardless. I just didn't have a frame of reference because there wasn't no like picture to go along. I'm like, oh, I know that. No, I was like, what is this mysterious guard?
Right. Like,
You know?
did I miss this?
It's probably amazing, and I don't know what it is. The hot new. Oh, it's Z guard. Jesus, just
So
said by
disappointing.
Craig Jones.
Right. There you go.
Man, ADCC's coming up.
Yeah, it is. I'm so sad that I'm going to be here for it instead of there to watch it live, like I should be.
Yeah.
California, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Super awesome by all accounts. Seth from Fight to Win and his crew are helping with production and everything. So
Should be high quality then.
yeah, I expect so. I mean,
Are they still going to play heavy metal during the matches?
I don't know if they'll play it during. I mean, I don't know
Just
if that was-
walkouts.
It's just
to the
walk-
mats.
Right.
But
Like,
it's just playing. It's just
I can only
playing.
imagine
It's
that.
so
Yes,
cool.
there's obviously going to be awesome music playing and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to redo that with just
Seth's
walkouts.
posts on Instagram are hilarious.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean,
Frequently.
he like bashes IBJJF. He talks about, oh, you're testing for, like, he even said something about, oh, you guys are testing for steroids now. How about you pay the athletes what they're worth? And then at the very end, he like totally discredits everything. He goes, by the way, I love steroids. I was like, whoa.
No, he vocally does. Like he talked about it on Hinger's podcast. He said stuff like that before, I thought too. But yeah, like
How'd
he-
they get away with playing that music? Did they have to pay rights for that?
if I understand correctly, he buys it on iTunes.
Oh, there you go.
And then he can play it and broadcast it?
I don't know about broadcasting it, but don't they cut the sound out mostly during those parts when they're streaming?
I mean, when I watched it, I just
I
listened.
don't know. I fast forward right to the matches.
Oh,
Right.
I'm
But
terrible.
music's a weird thing. What it's so fascinating. I was thinking about this the other day, music, and I was like, I don't know what I was listening to, what podcast I was listening to, but I'm like, what's so interesting is you can have cover bands. Like that's a thing. Like you
Oh,
can
yeah.
become a band and just cover other people's music, and that's totally. Everyone's like, yeah, I love that. You go to like Journey has a cover band,
Sure.
They probably have 100 cover bands.
right?
Let's be honest.
There's a lot, and I'm like, wow, that's like totally fine. But you can't like cover anything
Yeah,
else.
so they could.
other
Those cover
thing you can
bands
do.
can't make an album using
no, they
those.
can't make an album.
using that, but they can go perform it. Yeah,
But you can't be like a cover comedian. I can't go out and
that's
cover
true.
Chris
You'd be in
Rock.
trouble.
No, you
You get in trouble for that shit, right?
You can. You just eventually get found out.
Yeah.
But no, I'm
Right.
just
They call
saying
you
like,
Carlos Mencia then.
but Carlos Mencia was stealing. But I'm
Right.
saying like, become a cover comedian. Like
What
that's
if you're,
just your stick.
No, if you're Gallagher's brother, you can get away with it too.
Oh,
remember?
that's true,
There's,
yeah.
there's two Gallaghers.
I mean,
There's-
I wonder if that could be something like you. Well, I mean, there's so many up and coming comedians that they
like
they
everyone
fill
else-
those slots. You know,
you can't cover any other artist.
No,
it's
like,
so strange. Right?
It is
It's a
generally
different art
frowned
form.
upon.
plagiarism. No, you can't. You can't do that.
But
It's
it
all
is
plagiarism.
different though because, well, I mean, okay, so you only own the rights to the song per se, right? You don't own the rights to the performance of the song. Otherwise, well, not literally, but like no one could do Mozart except Mozart.
Oh, yeah,
Obviously,
that's true.
that's not the case. You know, like, and yes, obviously that's also in the public domain. But you know, like. As we want to listen
Yeah,
to
but didn't
music,
Michael Jackson buy Happy Birthday, and then no one could sing Happy Birthday in all the restaurants.
yeah, and then they started
that-
making up their own shit,
right,
which is horrible.
That was a whole,
It-
right.
it is all
So
terrible.
He bought that. He bought the rights, and then no one could
yeah, I
fucking
guess
sing it.
I hadn't thought of that.
because he
That-
wanted to sing it to
weird,
little
right?
boys.
Damn, you went there. Yeah, no, I guess I don't actually know what I'm talking about. Let's clarify that. But I
thought it was kind of odd that you can become a huge success and do like 80s hits and do all that
Right.
stuff, but you can't do
Yeah, you
that
can-
for like Chris Rock's jokes, like just or Eddie Murphy or
again,
someone like that.
You could, it just wouldn't go over. Like somebody
No.
for sure would be like, "You're
like, why are you fucking doing
This is a weird special exception."
Well,
but it's
and when you
because
think
it's
about it, like you're going to pay to see the artist who wrote the music way more than you would like, oh, I'm going to show up at some bar and they happen to be playing this music. Cool.
Right.
But you're not going to be like, oh, let's go see that Journey cover band unless you're kind of
I
weird.
don't know, man. There's like
I mean,
What if
and
they're
granted,
really
there are some
good?
weird people out
there
there.
are some people
but
out there that become like groupies to that cover band.
yeah, but
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying it's a thing.
For those that aren't
sure.
in studio, there's an awful lot of disappointed face going on right now.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
There are some people out there that do that.
Right now, there's some jiu-jitsu athlete listening to this who also has like a cover band and maybe a groupie.
Right.
And he's like, man,
What the fuck?
No, he has groupies, and he's like, "You're right. They're not that good."
Not as good if I was singing my own original shit.
Yeah.
But no one wants to listen to my shit.
I did. This was years ago. I friend of a friend, excellent guitarist, was covering Dave Matthews stuff. Sounded great, and I'm like, and I just slipped up. I said the wrong thing. I'm like, man, you do a great Dave Matthews impersonation, and he's like, I like
my
to
own
think of it. Yeah,
interpretation
I like
of
it,
music.
it basically gave me that line. He's like, it's called covering it, and I'm like,
But you sounded just like him.
Right,
So
but in my defense,
Well,
you
that's the
impersonated
thing.
him well.
and that is what's cool. So if you look at like Chris Cornell, who he's done Billie Jean, and like his version of it is nothing like Michael
Right.
Jackson's version. So that's what I'm.
Right,
that's
right.
a cool
Alien
idea
Ant
for a
Farm
cover. Yeah,
did a great
totally.
Jackson cover. Yeah, I mean, Johnny Cash owns Hurt at this point.
yeah,
Well, maybe
yeah.
not own, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like his version is every bit as good, if not better,
Right,
than the
Smashing
original Nine Inch
Pumpkins doing
Nails.
Landslide.
Yeah,
Like there's
so
a
that
lot.
happens.
Exactly. I mean, but they're allowed to do that. But no other comedian could do another comedian's joke and in the forum and say, "Hey, this is my own spin on that guy's fucking art. Why can't I do that?" And then they call him out for that. I just think it's weird. That's all.
Well, we can
Yeah.
also remake movies, though, and while that
And you
does
could
piss off people
do that, too.
sometimes,
Yeah.
that happens. But I guess all the original studio rights are probably still there. So yeah, I'm not sure how that creatively works, different licenses or whatnot. But again, like back in the day, people had to be able to play other people's songs.
I bet there's probably comedians in other countries that take like Bert Kreischer,
Right.
When he
The
was,
Machine?
yeah, the Machine. When he's talked about being in Russia and like doing comedy bits from movies to the Russians who had never seen the movie, so they thought he was fucking hilarious. So like, there's probably like the equivalent of that in China,
Right.
who's somebody who like understands English but then speaks Chinese, and then they're like, "Oh, I'll take all of this stuff from Joe Rogan and go over
Right.
to China and
Kill him.
refurbish it."
Now
a
I
little
want
bit
to
for that
research
audience.
this and find out if there are cover comedians.
Yeah, I mean, my friends and I, when we were younger, I mean, the biggest thing we used to listen to or watch was Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious. I mean,
Yeah.
that was just you
Came
guys
up in
know
that era.
You guys-
Sure.
We all did.
There's a special that couldn't be made today.
Right.
And we'd hit line after line after line, and it was just like it was the funniest shit in the fucking world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, I would love to see. I was watching comedians in cars with getting coffee.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy said he's going to do another one. I'm like, oh my god, that would be magical.
Yeah.
fucking magical.
He's got to get his legs under him again, get back out and start
Yeah.
doing.
He might already be.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. I think he's probably the greatest. But I did watch the other day Phil Hartman. Last Days of Phil Hartman. Fucking sad.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was sad. I didn't know all the bits and pieces. I knew he passed away and how he died, but I didn't know all the details of what happened. Man, what a tragedy.
His wife killed him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
fucking killed him, and
then killed herself.
But killed herself hours later. Like she went and told people she killed him. A friend of hers.
Where
came
was
to the
this
house.
documentary?
It's on. It was on ABC.
Okay. Huh. Yeah,
And-
I was unaware that such a documentary even
Yeah,
existed.
that's
Yeah,
kidding.
Last Days of Phil
It's
Hartman.
not on demand. I'm not really watching.
So what I didn't know was that, spoiler alert, if you guys didn't see this already, but she went to a friend's house, got him, he came back, confirmed, he called the police. She was still wandering around the house, and I guess there was multiple guns in the house. He then calls the police come. She's still alive.
Wow.
The older son was taken out of the house. That man was walking out to get the police or something. She locks herself in the bedroom with her
Another
Phil
gun
Hartman.
or something. Oh, with the body?
With the body. Yeah,
Oh, my
with
God.
who she just shot. Locks herself in the bedroom. Police take the daughter out, right? And then they hear a gunshot while they're taking the daughter out. And then they're like, okay, she still has a gun.
You'd
We
think
don't
there'd
know.
always be a cop in the place, especially with the person who murdered the other person. Like,
So it's like, what was fucking
why
going
is she
on?
just walking
She's
around?
Walking around with the
Right.
why, the guy.
hold up. You just killed someone.
Well,
let's just walk around, let you
Yeah,
walk
well,
around your
hold on.
house.
Exactly.
Because I didn't watch the documentary.
Right.
They knew at that point she had killed him, or they knew he was dead from a gunshot wound, and she was like
So
present.
Prior to her showing up at her house and murdering her husband,
Yeah.
she was at a friend's house.
Okay. This is massive spoilers.
Pretty
alert.
drunk, right? She tells that friend that she's going home. So she goes home. She drives home. She shoots her husband, drives back to that same friend's house, tells him, hey, I just shot my husband. He says, do you have the gun? She goes, yeah. He takes the gun, puts it in his car, drives her back because he didn't really believe her because she was pretty wasted or whatever. Drives her back, goes into the bedroom, sees that
Phil Hardman is in fact dead.
Calls the police, tells the police, I think, his wife shot.
That was the detail that I'm like, so
and then
they should have.
dispatched
That's crazy.
police. But that guy leaves and she locks herself in the room with another gun.
That's
it's
so
just
weird.
like, dude, why are you? I don't know. I obviously it's always after the fact. You're like, but it's crazy. It was a fucking crazy story. What? And that guy, I knew because I grew up with him, in Saturday Night Live and all that stuff in the '90s. And man, what a tragedy. Yeah. Fuck.
I mean, we lost a lot of comedians way too early.
Yeah, the Saturday Night Live. Oh yeah.
Mostly from overdoses.
Right.
Fair number. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was listening to that Rogan podcast with Dan Aykroyd, which was amazing.
That was
I didn't listen to that one.
Okay, hold on. Let me
You
set
can
this
spoil
up.
it. It's okay.
We don't need to talk about what. But I did not know that Aykroyd was into
into aliens.
Oh
no,
my
I actually
God.
knew about the
Okay.
aliens thing.
The ghosts?
I didn't know about like ghosts and seances and all this stuff. I'm like,
he's fucking out
he's a
there, man.
Ghostbuster.
He's a Ghostbuster.
I
He
thought
created it.
I thought it was a character he played.
okay.
I didn't know it was based on his
very
life.
method. Very method.
He's a method
I'm like,
actor.
wait, what?
Yeah, dude, that was
Yeah.
a great. I love that one. Man.
Wait. You're telling me Elwood had seances?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, and also, as Rogan said, I would buy pretty much anything he wants to sell. Like,
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Excellent salesman technique.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to get that damn vodka just for the container
bottle?
it comes in. Yeah, I'm gonna have some friends drink it for me, but I want that crystal skull.
That crystal skull, yeah. I mean, the history of that skull. I was looking it up.
Oh God! We're going down the conspiracy rabbit hole
There's
right
no
now.
conspiracy. It's just those things existed. People have them. There's no conspiracy about it.
No, it is a conspiracy
Is
because
it,
there's okay. Sorry, maybe conspiracy is the wrong word.
Maybe that's the wrong word. Yeah.
Because it was okay. So it was presented that these were like created by ancient peoples
Right.
using methods that
Don't
cannot
exist,
be replicated today. Nobody knows
Aliens.
how. Obviously, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Yeah. So that all happened years ago. Like this is before the internet and TV and whatnot. And then I thought didn't they even talk about this on the podcast that has since been debunked, but plenty of people still believe that no, of course it had to be aliens, and that the debunkers are just covering up because of the government or whatever.
I don't know. But what fascinated me about that was I didn't know anything about Betty and Barney and all those abductions and encounters. I didn't know anything about that stuff. And now I started
You
looking
went
at
down
stuff
the
up.
rabbit hole, didn't you?
Of course, I'll go down the rabbit hole. I'm like, fuck.
Jesus.
And then it ties in with Bob Lazar. I'm like, oh my God. Then I go back to Ancient Aliens and I'm like, what the fuck am I missing?
This is going to be a
I go
wild
down-
podcast.
I go down those fucking rabbit holes and I'm thinking to myself, dude, I don't do any drugs. I just drink
don't need
water.
to.
And I start thinking, I'm like, okay, let me think. So, because what they described when they were describing like the Betty and Barney situation, that alien abduction, I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking to myself, I drive a lot to clients, so I listen to all these podcasts in the car. So I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, holy fuck. So they're plucking these people out of like our atmosphere. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll picture it like this. How we fish and we just pluck fish out of the ocean.
Oh, okay.
Aliens are kind of doing the same thing to us, and we don't even realize that we're the
You're
fish.
being fished?
Yeah, basically. Well, think about it. We know
This is your concept.
This is my. Well,
Okay.
this is yeah. This is what
How
I was
amusing
thinking.
would that actually be, though, if the aliens are like, "Hey, Bob, I was thinking of running down to the fishing hole, Earth.
Earth, yeah.
I got this new lure I want to try out.
grab a couple of big ones.
Well, what's interesting?
I'll throw them back. It's catch and release.
Well, it sort of is. So when you pick up a
Well,
fish,
What if it's
that
not?
we know. I
Yeah,
mean,
we know,
it's not like the
right.
ones that disappear.
ones that are gone, right?
They're gone.
So if we pick up a fish and take it out of the ocean, it then dies, right? You can't breathe in our air.
I mean, typically, yes.
Right, exactly. If we go into space, we die. We can't breathe out of our atmosphere.
Assuming they don't have life support in this hypothetical alien spaceship.
They don't have a
when we-
cooler to
But
throw
when
us
we-
in.
But when we go in the ocean, we have to wear this gear. What if aliens have to wear gear when they come in our atmosphere because they can't breathe our air?
I mean, that's easily possible. There's this. It's pretty obscure. You've probably never heard of it. It's called War of the Worlds.
I don't know about that. What is that?
Just
that-
one of the most famous sci-fi stories of all time. No big
Was
deal.
that what the premise was? I'd never seen it.
Well, kind of the premise.
I mean,
that-
it started off as a radio show.
I know
and then
that.
they turned it into
Is that
several movies.
Orson
Welles.
Welles, something
But I
like
think he was he was the one reading it, right?
Yeah.
well, regardless. So yeah.
Oh wait, didn't Tom Cruise remake that?
Jesus. Yes.
That was the remake.
Is that the only version you're familiar with?
That's the only one I'm familiar with. Sorry,
Philistine.
I have no idea what you just said.
That's proving my point nicely.
Why is that not a good version?
It's got some merit.
Okay, but not up to your scale.
So the older version is the classic. The radio play is obviously, what people think of most because it was such an iconic moment in American history. And then, of course, there's the book, probably wasn't any good.
Fucking Javi.
Can I make my eyes roll audibly on the air here? Is that possible?
I love getting schooled by Javi. It's fun. I like it's so fun.
I'm so used to having to do this with my 20-year-old teammates, not so much with people my own age.
Well,
It's okay.
It is funny though. Like listen to the last podcast with Drew in here, where he was throwing so many references, and then you finally got one, and we're like,
Oh yeah.
finally caught one. I went far enough back. But if you go too far back,
Right.
nothing.
Yeah. Zito has a peak
small
optimal,
window
Yeah,
where he was
small
paying
window.
attention.
Very
Peak
small.
operating range right here. Yeah. You guys
Only
can't see
have
how
so
close
much.
together my hands are, but it's tiny, people.
That's okay. That's why I do this podcast. It helps me learn.
Educate yourself.
It's very educational.
The,
Yes.
the Rogan theory of podcasting.
Right, exactly. Yes. I don't want to have to do too much research. Just have Javi come in and something comes up. Oh, Javi, tell me about that.
Oh, thanks.
Jake,
That's my.
help me out with that. Thanks.
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Right, yeah. We're all just here to educate Zito.
Right. In a way, that's how the podcast really started. It was.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was Paul and Zito bullshitting with I can't speak with each other about jiu-jitsu on Paul's couch, basically, right?
Basically.
And then somebody had the clever idea of let's record this,
Right.
and then let's make it better by bringing in people that know more about jiu-jitsu.
So
than
they could
us.
teach us.
And
Exactly.
fun fact, the name of the podcast
Yeah.
came from one of my shirts.
One of your shirts.
it did.
Exactly.
And what company produced that
Oh yeah,
shirt?
Fight Chix
That's right. Fight Chix.
with an X.
I still have that shirt. That's an awesome shirt.
As well, you should, sir.
I know. It's a great shirt.
Yeah, it probably just sounds like I'm tooting your horn here, but you have the best talent for picking out some of the most comfortable shirts available. I don't know how you consistently do it, man.
It's interesting because it's funny because I have trouble buying normal clothes now because seriously,
this disgusting thing.
like other brands that I would want to support, like even other indie brands. Man, if they're not using the right blank, I'm just like, I like the design, but
Yeah.
it frustrates me. Or I'll see like a cool design and then I'm always looking at the label or the inside label that you can actually
what it
Google to see if they remove
it
the
is.
top
Okay.
label. Like there's ways around it to
really?
find which
That's interesting.
which blank that they're actually using. But yeah, I figure because people when they're starting a clothing line, they try and do it as cheap as possible.
Right, especially because you don't know if it's going to take off. or
Right,
not.
right. But if you make the shirt super comfortable and you're giving them away versus somebody might just use that as a rag, or if it's like a super comfortable shirt, they'll wear it.
Right.
And then at least it's their lawnmower shirt or something, but it's out there.
Right, yeah. If they're just using it as a rag, nobody sees the logo, the
Exactly,
design,
exactly.
nothing. Absolutely
Yeah,
true.
some people base the shirt off just the design and forget the comfort of it. Like,
Yeah. It has to be the full
it's-
package.
It's got to be full package. 100%. It's got to fit right.
That's
Yeah,
why
it's
I
got to
don't
fit
do it.
right. Even the presentation when you order it. So we're doing a lot of things third party automated now, but when we were in the heyday, everything like, have you guys heard of Johnny Cupcakes?
I'm unaware. What
All
is
right.
Johnny Cupcakes?
So he was this guy in Boston who was he was in a punk, like a straight edge punk band or something like that.
Okay.
And he did this design for, I think it was like he was working at a print shop and he did a logo of a cupcake with a skull and crossbones. So it was
Okay.
like this, and and he was selling them out of the trunk of his car during their shows. Well, it kind of took off, and he got nicknamed Johnny Cupcakes. And then he took it and basically started a clothing line doing like selling this thing, but he turned the whole thing into an experience. So when he had a storefront, he made it look like a bakery. So people would come in thinking they were getting
baked goods.
And like, you know, the counter display had like T-shirts were on
like
trays. Yeah,
that's
like
awesome.
all kinds of stuff. It's like really, really cool. And he opened up several stores. He's got a couple on the East Coast, one in London, one in LA. And the LA one, they went like special effects crazy with like animatronic ovens that open and close with steam and like all kinds of craziness.
Huh.
But he his whole thing on when you order something, he wanted it to feel like you pay for it, but he wanted to feel like you were getting a present in the mail. So custom box, custom box, gift wrapped with a note and all that. So we took that to heart, and we started using like pink tissue paper, and Beth would, my wife would handwrite like some kind of thank you note to everybody. We'd include extra stuff like stickers and things like that. So we still do that for like specialty items. Right. And then the other stuff that we're doing is through a third party on our website that does like direct to garment printing. I still maintain the good blanks.
Right.
For the apparel itself, make sure it feels good, fits good. And then, but that's been able to kind of open up the amount of things we can do. The barrier to entry to like apparel design is so much smaller now.
Yeah, lower bar than what it was before.
Way lower bar.
So interesting.
So you can look pretty professional right out of the gate. And now we're doing stuff with spats and rash guards, and they're print on demand too. Cut and sew jobs from California.
Don't have to store a ton of stuff in a warehouse.
Exactly. Right. And that was where it was hard. We had a lot of overhead.
Zito would like to start a clothing line one day. It's gonna be a blank white T-shirt with like a simple symbol in it. It'll just say NCD, nice, clean design.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Look how happy he looks.
It's beautiful.
He's like my future, and I'm like, Zito, nobody will buy that.
Or everybody will buy that.
Everyone will buy that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, look how wrong I am. Zito's like, fuck computers, fuck grappling. Just gonna make T-shirts.
I do. I mean, I wanted to make T-shirts. I made those hoodies for here, and every time I wear mine to the gym, they're like, dude,
where are those hoodies?
The fuck? Can we buy one? I'm like, yeah.
Where'd you get them made through?
I didn't get them. Well, I bought them at Old Navy.
Oh, okay. So you bought your own blank the way you wanted them?
What's the other one?
Gap?
No. Fuck. What the hell is that place called?
Hot Topic?
And Republic? Should we just keep naming?
Yeah, no idea.
No.
You bought them at a store, though.
I bought them at a store. What the fuck is the name of that store?
Completely irrelevant to
American
the story.
Apparel.
No. It's in...
It's going to bug him.
It's going
to bug me now.
Yeah, now we've started the quest for the store. Continue with the story. Perhaps it'll come to you.
If you go to Oakbrook, walk outside of Nordstrom and you go to the left. What is there?
Jesus,
come on, you know what's there.
There's a map of Oakbrook available on the internet. You look it up right now.
It's a very popular store.
Oh, H&M.
H&M.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank God somebody has.
So I bought the hoodies from H&M, and then I just had the Grappler Union logo, and then I had United We Roll on the front.
Okay, nice.
Black on black. Well, I did some
black and
special
brown.
Murdered out. Yeah.
And they're so comfortable, fucking super soft. But I paid full price for them.
Sure.
It wasn't inexpensive. And then I just had someone, a local place, just stamp it on there. But I never released any of them, but I intended to. But
you have no idea how frequently somebody asks me, like, "Hey, do you guys have any gear or anything?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, no. Zito's working on that, and he's been working on it for 125 episodes."
Yeah. It's so bad. It's another thing.
Our fans want to support us, but they can't.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
I can show you a way to do it after the show.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's like a plug-in. You're gonna be easy.
The easier it is, the happier it'll be.
The easier it is, the better.
Yeah.
But
put one of your guys on it, it'll be done.
Okay, good. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll get those eventually.
Cool.
Yeah, I just did. I just showed Greg today because Greg the Butcher.
The Butcher.
The Butcher. Yeah.
That's his nickname.
Nobody wants to say his last name.
Well, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, to be honest with you.
But, I mean, it's basically Vitek.
Oh, that's not that hard. See, I learned something.
It doesn't look like it's spelled that way.
No, I mean, like you look at it on Facebook, Greg doesn't even come out of my mouth. It's like, what is that?
Isn't it
Why is there a Z in the center?
Yeah.
G-E-G-G?
No, it's like G-R-Z and Y, and then somehow that turns into Greg. I don't know.
Super Polish.
Yeah.
Greg's awesome.
I love him. It's hilarious. But he wanted me to do this rash guard for him, and I was like, all right, because I can do the custom ones now and as one-offs. And he was giving me all kinds of different, kind of inspirational, but it was like super gory, violent,
well, he is the butcher.
Right. But it was like just pictures of like dudes with giant axes and blood everywhere. And I was like, well, I'm not going to put that on a rash guard. Like that's somebody else's fantasy art that they did or whatever. Right. And I was like, all right, let me just run with this. So I basically just got a really cool, like rough texture as the base. And then I got some brushes from, Photoshop, whatever, and did just blood splatters all over. And then I branded it, 10th Planet and Pacini Grappling and then the butcher across the back. And I sent it to him. He goes, brother. He was so
brother,
happy.
I love these.
So I'm delivering it to him tomorrow. He'll be really excited.
Nice. I want a picture of that. I want to see what that's like.
I have it in the car. I'll show you.
Oh, even better.
I mean, the detail on it looks like somebody got murdered in it. It's amazing.
This is really disturbing given the Phil Hartman conversation from the beginning.
Well, I've got to tie it all together for the podcast.
I guess. Yeah. So are you doing one-off shirts as well?
Yeah, we can do one-off. I mean, everything's direct to garment printing, so it's like that technology's finally caught up that the quality's good. Before it was.
How long does it usually take?
From the time somebody orders it, it's usually less than 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's for rash guards and spats too. Like we have this fighter that we sponsor, Savannah M, and I know you guys were talking about Danelli Bolelli. Yeah. It's his girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
So like
I did bring up her special print, didn't I? I'm pretty sure.
The Dick Spats?
Dick Spats?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think we talked about that.
We talked about it with I mentioned when Drew was on.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I need these.
Yeah.
So what are they? Just dicks all over it?
All over.
Wait, like literal dicks?
No, like cartoon dicks, but funny.
Wait, like not like a guy's like Richard and you have a name Dick on there. You have actually
tiny
penises drawings.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify. I want to be sure that it's
so this is pretty cool. So like this girl that I went to high school with, she lives out in LA, and she's like, she messages me one day on Facebook and is like, "Are you still doing Fight Chix?" I was like, "Yeah." And then she's like, I have this neighbor who she fights, MMA, blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, everybody has a neighbor that fights MMA, whatever.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I just
Which one of my neighbors fights MMA these days?
It's one of those.
Oh shit, I'm the neighbor, aren't I?
But she's like, she's an artist too. So she introduced me, and I started talking to her, and like, I mean, she's an amazing illustrator, like really phenomenal. And she just happens to draw dicks, like as a joke on the side. Like she'll post some on her Instagram or whatever. And then she fights for ONE FC.
Okay.
And she's progressively gotten better over the time. Like we met her, she was still an amateur with like a 2-0 record, and then turned pro. She started training at 10th Planet San Diego with Manny, Liz Carmouche, and Alima Leigh McFarland, that whole crew. And I was going through her Instagram, and I didn't tell Beth about this. That's the funny part.
Of course
I
not.
I didn't mention to my wife that I was like, "Hey, Savannah, if you sent me a whole bunch of dicks, I would put them on spats. Is that something you'd be interested in?" She goes, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And she sent me this like amazing just rendition of like, well, it was all on one thing, but it was like doodles of just a bunch of different dicks in different scenarios.
Wasn't there a movie with the kid?
Yeah, it was a lot like Superbad. It was a lot like Superbad. Yes. Very reminiscent. So she does all these amazing dicks. So we launched Dick Spats. I sent out pairs of them to.
Do you have a photo of these?
Yeah.
Of course.
I gotta see these.
You would know if you were on Instagram.
I sent out spats to Liz Carmouche, to Alima Leigh McFarland, and like so all the high level pros at 10th Planet San Diego are wearing Dick Spats, and they like all wore them on the same day and were posting videos leading into Alima Leigh's. Yeah, it was great. Wow. So then,
can you do vagina spats?
Well,
We need a different illustrator.
We're going to use the same illustrator.
Oh.
And we're working on titty tights. So that'll be the
titty
next.
tights.
She's like not as excited about drawing boobs as she was dicks. So she's, working up
Taking
the
her time.
inspiration.
Right.
Yeah. Which is pretty funny.
see.
But yeah, that's the plan.
I want to know what the demand is. Like if there's greater demand for one or the other,
That would be good. Good user data.
But no vagina.
No.
No, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
What about vagina and dick?
Oh, now this is
Together.
getting pornographic, sir.
yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, if we're going to go there.
Like just
penetration tights. I mean,
no, he's looking for like casual images on the beach together, sipping margaritas.
if you put the vagina where the vagina goes and the dick where it's supposed
it's
to
not
go.
like that. It's not like that. Those things already exist.
Oh, they do?
I don't make those, but yeah,
Okay.
those.
These are just all over the place.
Yeah,
Let's see a picture of this.
yeah. Let me pull them up.
These are far more innocent than where your mind is going. So.
Yeah, they're
I don't
super
know.
super
I'm thinking
cartoony.
super bad. I'm thinking about just dicks all over pants.
I mean,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
that's
Sorta.
That's what I'm
Sorta.
thinking.
John Mejia actually wore a custom pair of them at one of his Fight to Wins. The dick spats.
Hasn't Matt Paul worn them too?
Yeah, Matt. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I think
thought so.
Matt's worn them. Who else wears them pretty
I think
often?
Nate's worn them.
I mean, we have Nate's. There's a lot of guys who have bought them and then rock them in comp because it's hilarious.
Also, like at some point, one of your teammates can be like, "Dude, did you just get tapped out by a guy wearing a bunch of dicks?"
Well, it's funny when you wear them to seminars and you get like 3/4 of the way to the seminar, and whoever's hosting the seminar is like, "Whoa, what is all over your?" Yeah,
But by the same token, do not wear them to the kids' class.
it's
That's not appropriate.
not
Might be a
advisable.
little appropriate. Let's see, Jake. Jake and that
I'm trying-
badass iPhone 11 with
Yeah.
no case.
No case.
Fucking gangster.
No, thank you. I've broken enough things in my life. I don't need to take such risks.
I'm trying to get the Wi-Fi's not very good in here.
Did you grab the Wi-Fi?
No.
Oh, well,
Well,
That's
that
why
would be
it's not
why.
very good.
jump on the Grappler.
Am I gonna find it faster than you on your own Instagram?
Union.
Oh, I'm not on Instagram. I'm just trying to pull up the Fight Chix website.
Oh,
I thought we had them on Instagram. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, they're on Instagram. I would have to hunt through that.
Oh.
They're right up on the site. We'll get to it in a little
okay.
bit.
Thanks.
You'll be excited.
Okay.
So take us back a little bit here. Before there were dick spats.
Yeah.
So you said
the origin
heyday.
story. The
Yeah.
origin story of Fight Chix.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
All right. Well, let's see.
It's 1982.
No, we actually started in 2006.
There you go.
I was training Jeet Kune Do at the time under,
Hell yeah.
so we have that in common.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah, JKD. And
JKD.
I split my day. I was a full-time designer, and then in the evening I would spend half the evening at a JKD school and the other half the evening at Hackney's Reality Combat doing MMA. And
That'd be Keith Hackney,
Keith
local
Hackney.
MMA legend.
Yeah. And then from there, I would get done like 9:30, go home, shower, and then bounce from 10 to 1 a.m. And that was like pretty much my daily schedule. And then when I met Beth, I got her into the sport. And she was like, I love this sport, but I don't want to wear blood and skulls. And that's kind of like the height of
that's
MMA
like the-
fashion in 2006.
And Affliction and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
well,
Affliction.
I mean,
that was before Affliction, though.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was like Sinister,
Tap
Tap
Out.
Out.
Yeah.
I mean, and Tap Out didn't have all that kind of stuff.
No.
They were pretty, sporty in
Tame
there
by comparison at the time.
I mean, they had some stuff, but they ventured off that direction as Affliction came in and that kind of thing. But she was just like, I love the sport. I don't want to wear blood and skulls. We need to come up with a clothing line for women. There's a lot of women that like this sport. There's, there's female fighters. Like she did some research and she came home from the bar one night, that she was working and she had drank like a super can of Monster. Right. And she was like wired.
She's super hyphy.
Yeah. And it was a rough night. She's like, there's gotta be more to life than, working all these jobs to make ends meet. We should, we started watching fights and that's when she was like, I want to support the sport, but all these things suck. So I was like, I don't know. Why don't we just start our own clothing line? She goes, fine. I was like, what are we gonna call it? And then she like came up with a name, and she's like, we're gonna call it Fight Chix, but with an X, so it'd be a little catchier. I was like, okay. And I like went to work the next day, and then during my work day, I did a logo.
Yeah.
And I sent it to her, and she's like, yeah, no, that's it. That's the logo. Cool. So because the design level in the industry was so low, and I had a background in design, we immediately came out of the gate ahead of everyone else. Like Tap Out was well established by then to the normal MMA fan, but all the other brands that were kind of out there were, you know, mom and pop brands who just wanted to be a part of the sport, just like us. But they didn't have a designer on the staff. So, you know, I was able to do a website. We were able to look way more professional than we were. We didn't know how to print shirts. Like I was, you know, we went to like the bar that we worked at, and because they would print shirts, and that was our first printer, was like the bar, whoever the bar guy did. Right.
Exactly. Right.
And then we took $500 and we, you know, did a run of like 3 shirts, and we went to, Total Fight Challenge in Hammond, Indiana. Miguel Torres was headlining, and we talked to the promoter to get booth space in exchange for ring car girls, because, you know, Beth knows a lot of beautiful girls, and that was an easy trade, so we didn't have any overhead other than the shirts. And we set it up, and like everybody, we sold out. Like it was like crazy.
Nice.
And so we turned 500 into 1,500 in like a night, and we're like, huh.
This is easy.
Yeah, there might be something to this. Right. So by 2010, we had international distribution in Australia and South Africa and in Europe, and we had we were nominated for Best MMA Lifestyle Brand by the World MMA Awards, which was like, I think our nomination was the last time that they had fans nominating, and then they would tally the votes for the fans, and then it became like sponsor industry only type,
right?
Where it was like the more ad space you bought, the easier it was to get nominated, and then the fans voted for the winner. But we were against Tap Out, Silver Star, Ruka, and Affliction, and us, like, and it was a black tie event in Vegas, like, you know. Nice. So we never got rich off of Fight Chix, but it was the access to the sport was unreal. I mean, we had events. You know, we would do the UFC fan expos in Vegas, and we did them in Vegas. We did them in Toronto, which was a wild experience because I'd never even been to Canada, and we can get back to that in a little bit. And then well, actually, let's go down that road. Toronto, I had my Scion XB packed to the teeth with Fight Chix apparel for this expo, and my wife and our intern flew in, and we had, you know, the cost for the booth, but, you know, there's like, you have to cross into Canada, right. And there was like, you know, are you coming to sell stuff here? There's taxes, this, that. What's the statute of limitations on things like this?
We'll not broadcast those in Canada. They'll never find you.
So, and I don't know if you've ever driven to Canada, but
I have.
Okay, so when you're driving there, they kind of like, hey, the border crossing is coming up, and then it's just there. Like there's no way to like exit and kind of figure out what, like a plan, if you had to come up with a plan. Right. So I had like the tax stuff kind of ready if I had to pull it out, but I was like, well, let's just see if I can get through and just be like, oh, these are all promo items. Like we're just giving them away at the expo. Sure. And then they questioned if because I had a Tap Out sticker on the car too, but huge Fight Chix logos on it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going up for the expo, da da da. And they're like, do you work for Tap Out? I go, no. And they're like, okay. And then these are all just promo items. So, yeah. I mean, they had me pull over. They searched my car. I had to answer a bunch of questions. Like, it was very serious. Yeah. And then I get through, and I text Beth. I'm like, I made it through the border. I feel like Jason Bourne. You know, like I totally made it, right? We kill it at the expo. Like, I mean, and it's like, you know, we're friends with Ariani at this point. We get invited to her after party. There's all kinds of like, we didn't actually make it to the fight. That was GSP and Jake Shields.
Oh, okay.
That was at the huge venue that I don't know, some baseball team plays. Expos might play there or did play there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
or
that
Blue
venue
Jays,
is
maybe
offhand.
Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays.
Sounds accurate.
That's better.
We'll go with it.
But then we're coming back, and we have like tons of cash on us, like Canadian money, and so it was like how they did it in Pride, where you strap it to your
Vest of
body and
cash.
hide it in just different places.
Serious?
Dude, I had it hidden all throughout the sign because I didn't want people to be like, America pulls you in and they're like, oh, did you pay taxes on all that? Where's all this cash from? I thought you were, I didn't know if they talked to each other, whatever. So, you know how easy it is to get through the American border? I pull up. I was like, yeah, I was at the Fan Expo, da-da-da. They're like, can you roll down your back window? Okay, go ahead. I was like, are you kidding?
It was like the damn Inquisition going there.
Dude, I was like, this is insane. I'm like, no wonder there's terrorists in our, or whatever.
That's exactly what you thought at the time.
Well, I kind of did because I was like, why? I mean, and now I think about it, it's like, why are they so worried about people coming up from Mexico? They're just letting them all in up in Canada. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, and we had just amazing experiences at all those fan expos. Yeah. So like when we were in Houston, it was just me and Beth setting up, and we would fly in on Southwest and we pay for the extra. We get the 2 bags. We could check our tent. Like, it was very shoestring budget for all this stuff. So we're down in Houston. We put out a message on Twitter. Hey, does anyone want to help us set up for like free passes? Cause we get like 4 passes for the booth, expo, right? Yeah. And this guy, his name's, he responded, it was Jesus. And we were like, oh my God, Jesus wants to help us set up.
Yes. Praise the Lord.
So he's a bartender at the Hard Rock. Him and his girlfriend are bartenders at the Hard Rock in Houston, which was right by the venue. And he's like, dude, I'll come help you guys set up. So we're like, sweet, we'll give you a free pass to the expo. Boom. So he helps us set up. So super nice guy. Then he hits me up later. He goes, hey, I got an extra ticket to Rogan. You want to go? I was like, yeah. So I ended up going to Rogan with him. And then, but then he's like, we're going to stop by my girl. She made some brownies. I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm obviously a very trusting person.
Too trusting, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, not the best idea, but so kids learn something from this. It might not turn out as good as it did for me.
Educational purposes after all.
But yeah, we went to Rogan and then another, I think it was, I can't remember whose after party it was, but another after party, we just got, it's like a small family at those events. Cause it's like all the same vendors,
right.
We were always we made friends with like BJ Penn's mom, and she was always amazing to us. And BJ Penn being one of my favorite fighters, I would always like strategically put our booth real close to. Where's BJ's booth? All right, we'll go right kitty corner to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was an amazing experience. We had, the late Anthony Bourdain. We had dinner with that guy.
Wow.
I mean, and that came about because Octavia, and obviously she was at what was that event? The Chicago Fitness Expo.
Yeah, which was tied in with the Gracie Worlds.
Right.
Regionals. Sorry.
But
Gracie
when she was
Regionals.
like a blue belt training at Henzo's, she found Fight Chix and was like, oh, this is really cool. We started connected on Twitter, and then her and Beth hit it off, and they started talking over the phone. They're like, oh, we're going to be out in Vegas for the Fan Expo. You guys want to have dinner? And we're like, oh, yeah. So we all had dinner with Bourdain and her, and they sectioned off a little spot in the restaurant that they picked, and these giant tomahawk steaks and whatever. And I mean, the Bourdains paid for everything, which was awesome. Very sweet of them. And because we were like, we're trying to make money at this thing, and I'm like, oh God, yeah, order whatever you want. But thankfully, he's a baller and he took care of it. And
plus, you damn well know. I mean, if Bourdain's taking you to the restaurant, you damn well know that's going to be a good restaurant.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it was hilarious too because he was drinking, and it was Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. I think it was the rematch, right? Mm-hmm. That was the main fight. So Steven Seagal was in Anderson's corner,
right,
and
taught him everything he knew.
Excuse me, yeah, and Dude, as he drank, he just started talking shit about Steven Seagal, and it was hilarious. He's like,
What was he saying?
He was like, dude, the only advice I would take from Steven Seagal is how to take out an all-you-can-eat buffet. like he, and then so he says all this horrible stuff, right? And then later on that night, it started coming out on his Twitter feed. Like he was basically
so upset.
He remembered, and he's like, I'm going to tweet all that stuff that I said at dinner. And yeah, so it was lighting up Twitter. Man, it was funny. It was a good time. So a lot of experiences like that. We even had like a makeshift after party where we got bottles, and like Joe Daddy Stevenson and some of the other fighters like saw, hey, can we just come hang out with you guys? And we're like, yeah. And we had a really good reputation. We still have a really good reputation in the industry just because we never overpromised anything. We never screwed any fighters. And we always tried to like, I mean, probably to the detriment of our business, do what was better for the fighter than for us. I'll give you another good example of that. We had done custom shirts for Liz Carmouche when she got the call to fight Ronda Rousey in the UFC. So we had already had a good relationship with Manny. We had done stuff with him in through Invicta, and
a lot of the Invicta girls you guys supported.
Yeah. And Manny,
did you support Ronda at one point?
That's where this is about to get complicated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we ended up doing this shirt for Liz, and then as soon as we had it up on the site and we were selling it, I can't remember, one of Uriah's clothing lines. I can't remember which one it was. It wasn't Alpha Male. He had a couple like clothing lines that he ran, but they came in and they were like offering her an exclusive deal, but there was a condition that we had to pull our shirt because they didn't want to like have competition. And they were a sponsor in the UFC. They paid that UFC tax, all that kind of stuff. Right. And I told Liz, I was like, dude, make more money. Like that's what this is about. Right. Do it. And we, everything we did was like a handshake deal. And then she went on and got that, hopefully a big chunk of money from that plus the fight. And we ended up doing Ronda Knows t-shirts that was similar, like Bo Knows, like we did a cover, if you will, of that shirt, and and they were already doing like Bones Knows, so there was other stuff like that out there, and that shirt, like we actually went to that fight. Beth and I went to that fight, and we ran into Podcst from Tap Out, and he saw us and he pulls us aside and he goes, dude, that shirt, that Ronda Knows shirt, I see it everywhere. You guys made it. Like he like gave us props, and I was like, we were like on cloud nine. It wasn't about the money. It was just like that respect,
that recognition.
And they were always cool with us. Like they would try to bury other clothing lines, but they were like, dude, we got called the tap out for women. Like you're like, oh, you're like tap out for girls. I was like, yeah. Fight Chix. Fight Chix and Tap Out. Like it was, and I mean, and I'm kind of all over the place, but there were some seriously rough times too. We had a total guy, the scam guy who came in at one point, and told us that, like, I met him through. So how do we grow the business, right?
Yeah.
I was working for a company called Stats, and we tried to get. I actually. The new CEO came in, and he had a background. He was over in Asia, and he was a fan of kickboxing. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll go talk to this guy, being naive. and I was like, I think this sport MMA is really going to take off, and I think we should try and figure out how we can put numbers around it. And there's no one's recording statistics. CompuStrike wasn't doing anything at that time, and I kind of came up with a game plan on how we could do that, and we ended up pitching the UFC. So I flew out with our vice president of sales, and sat down in a boardroom with Dana White and all of his lawyers and different people, and I didn't say anything. I was just the resident expert, right? So Jim, our sales guy, he goes, vice president of sales, he's like, so we're here, we want to discuss this. They want to do like a fantasy game and then a way to like track scores statistics to create like box scores and things like that. And then like, and this is Jake. He's our resident MMA expert. And Dana White cuts him off. Who have you trained with? So I'm like, oh well, I've trained Jeet Kune Do under one of Paul Vunak's instructors, and I trained with Keith Hackney and Gideon Ray, and like, oh, he's like, oh, Keith, okay, he was just out here. Like, immediately got street cred with Dana. Like, oh, you actually understand the sport, because I'm sure they're getting pitched a lot of bullshit.
Especially and around what year was this?
This was before 2006. This was pre-Ultimate Fighter. So
okay, yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So they were
still,
like
still dark days.
Dark days. The offices were shitty. Like, it wasn't like it is now for sure.
Yeah.
And this was
in Vegas.
Vegas, yeah. First time to Vegas was to go right to meet.
Well,
right to meet Dana White. And then Dana liked me. We didn't end up doing a statistic deal, but we did a fantasy game deal. And they wanted me to come out and like, they invited somebody from stats to come out, and the CEO was like, Jake, why don't you go? This is your thing. And so they like put me up at the MGM Grand. They gave me press access to the fight. It was my first UFC ever, like, going to live. It was UFC 48, Chemo versus Shamrock. And I mean, it was, again, I'm alone in Vegas.
Right.
And then like after the show, Dana finds me and he gives me a hug. He goes, what do you think? Like, it was like dark days where they're trying to like, oh, you guys are owned by News Corp. Like, you're
right.
This could help us get exposure, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Like, and I don't have a whole lot of power, but he was really cool with me, and he had been cool with me every time I've seen him since. I mean, getting to him has been a lot harder since then, but, and then afterwards, I'm just kind of wandering around Mandalay Bay, like, wow, this is Vegas, really cool. And I see, Joker from the Tap Out crew, and I had gotten pictures with them like after weigh-ins or whatever,
right.
and I was just a fan, I wasn't, there was no Fight Chix.
He kind of stands out.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But I got a picture with Mask and Scrape and Matt Hughes and Joker. Like, they were all there, right? And he's like, oh, I remember you from da-da-da. Hey, we're all at Rum Jungle. You want to come hang out with us? I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just tell him. He was like on his way to the bathroom, because there's no bathroom in Rum Jungle. You have to like go into the casino to go to the bathroom and go out.
Okay, right.
And he's like, yeah, just tell him you're with Joker and the Tap Out guys. They'll let you right in. And I was like, that's not going to happen. Like, I'm a single dude going into a club, but just put me at that table.
Yeah,
no, right. But he brought me in, and I hung out. And so that relationship was formed with the UFC. What ended up happening was there were guys who left the UFC and started the International Fight League, and they wanted the statistic component that we had advertised to the UFC for the team-based thing. We ended up putting a team together for that, where I brought in one of my old training partners who I've trained with since I was 18 to be my other like MMA person. And then we had two tech guys who would they helped design touch screens to like record all the statistics while we would call it out. Right. So I'm like, takedown, strike, like whatever. Right. And then we traveled around the country at all the IFL events, sitting ringside, and, each of those teams had amazing coaches. So you had like Boss and Henzo and, whoever, Maurice Smith, like a who's who. And,
this is basically like the UFC Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. And then it's the same production crew every time. So you get to know these people. So after every fight, it's like everyone just meets up at the hotel bar, and then, it's a free for all. It's like, oh, I'm drinking with Mayhem Miller and Boss Rutan, and like,
that sounds dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Boss back in the day he was hilarious, and he would is. Yeah. I mean, he's still hilarious, but he's much more tame now.
He's mellowed.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's kind of how because I had a per diem for all these trips. I would buy Beth a plane ticket, and she would go with and talk to the wives of girlfriends of the fighters, and pass out Fight Chix stuff and talk to the ring car girls. So the connection with Invicta, the woman who ran like a bunch of stuff for the IFL was Shannon Knapp.
Okay.
And now she's running Invicta. Yeah. So, and she specifically ran the ring car girls. So we helped like Beth did hair and makeup for the Ring Car Girls on a couple of the shows and got to know Shannon. And then the next thing you know,
Shannon fought too, didn't she?
I don't know if
Maybe she just trains. Maybe
she definitely trains.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh,
but yeah. So I mean, it's such a small world, and once you're in a little bit, and you're good people, it was pretty easy to kind of navigate around and just have an amazing experience, because that's really what it was about for me. It was like I loved the sport. I loved contributing to the sport in some way and helping these people who have this dream, and I could do that through design in a way, right. So that made me feel good.
So what do you think about it now? With the Reebok deal and that all.
Well, I mean, the Reebok deal, I don't know how that helps the fighters. I see how it legitimized the brand to like a TV audience, and that was the play, right? So the Fertittas were strategic in that deal. They put uniforms on everybody, and then a year later they sold everything for $4 billion.
Right.
So it was a smart play. I know you guys were talking about fighter salaries the other day, and I do know there's a lot of undisclosed money that goes to different fighters, but the guys who are low on the totem pole are probably making that 6 and 6 or 3 and 3 still. Right. But guys like Ben Askren, he might be, you're making 55,000 or whatever, but he's probably getting like some kind of back end
bonuses.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a thing where with Reebok was giving guys paydays and stuff like that? Wasn't there a whole structure with the Reebok thing? That went away, right?
I think it went away. I mean, you don't hear about anything with Reebok anymore.
That Reebok thing anymore.
And the reason why, like you were talking about how come it's not like other leagues and you're an employee of the UFC.
Right.
Each fighter is an independent contractor. Yeah. And so until they have a collective bargaining agreement, they're not going to know how much the promotion makes and what percentage they're getting paid, because they don't fall under the Muhammad Ali Act. So that's the difference between MMA and boxing.
Okay.
Boxing, I believe the promoters are required to give the fighters like 40% or whatever they make. Yeah. And the UFC, from the numbers that have come out, just what I've read, I don't know, I can't confirm or deny this, but supposedly they're only giving fighters 20% of everything that's produced. So
that's weird, right? That the press conferences that Dana White goes over all the numbers and like this, at the gate we did this, and what's the point of that? Like, what is the?
I think there's records for all that. So
why
for venues?
Who cares?
I think it's just used as like a measuring tool as to how successful the event was.
Yeah.
Like that's commonly talked about. Like,
but they don't do it for do they do it for other?
They do it for concerts.
Yeah.
Like he'll go to Madison Square Garden and be like, oh, what's the highest gate that you've ever had here? And they'll be like, oh, it was the Beatles and da-da-da-da for this much.
Yeah, but no one's going out and talking about it. That's just he voices it every press conference.
Well, he's a promoter. He's saying, look how much fucking money we made.
I mean, it's good to say, like we're upward trending, or even to be like,
well, and to give you an idea why he didn't do the deal with Stats back in the day. It was very hard to put numbers behind some of the fights that they were making and make them sellable on pay-per-view. Oh. You can't do like a Patrick Cote versus Anderson Silva when you look at their numbers, because it's such a mismatch. Like people are like, oh, he's got a puncher's chance. Like the statistics, the numbers that if you were to actually run them, right, no one's going to buy that pay-per-view. Like the people that barely did buy the pay-per-view, that kind of thing. So it was harder to sell fights with statistics behind it without the sensationalism. So as it became a more legitimate sport and, you had better athletes in it, it makes more sense to have
takedown percentage.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah. But that's an interesting thing, because no other boxing they have promoters in boxing.
They have promoters in boxing, but all of boxing is protected by the Muhammad Ali Act, which basically makes the promoters disclose their numbers to the fighters.
What other major league sport has promoters?
That's it.
I mean, everyone else has got team owners, right?
You have team owners and then collective bargaining agreements, unionized players.
Right.
So that's why you always hear this talk about a fighters union. But it's never going to happen because you'd have to actually have the fighters unionize, and people like Johnny Bones and guys who are making millions of dollars, they don't give a shit what Mr. Undercard dude who's making 12 grand. No. Why would I be like, oh, let me take a pay cut so you can make 30,000 a year or get an actual living wage? I mean, you'd really have to have all those guys. I mean, lots of people have tried, and then you have lobbyists in like the UFC has lobbyists because they're trying to have the Muhammad Ali Act extend to MMA, and there's lobbyists blocking that, just like lobbyists were blocking MMA in New York.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a crazy behind the scenes.
It is crazy. It's so fascinating. Like, business fascinates me, and when you get to the other side of the door and you start seeing how it works,
how the sausage is made.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Back to Dick Spats.
I mean, because I deal with a lot of different companies, and I'm not going to name any of them outright, but just
this one sucks.
Yeah. But when I get there, I'm just like, oh my God, this is how this shit fucking really works. I'm like, holy fuck, this is like a whole nother world. It just fascinates me. Just really, really interesting.
Obviously, not naming anyone, but like in terms of like how a restaurant runs versus how some
just other industries, not specific, but restaurant as well. Restaurants have their own hang-ups and their own. When a new restaurant starts, it's always the same.
Pure chaos.
Not the chaos thing. What's
there's buzz.
There's buzz, but what's interesting is that the work, so we install the computer systems.
Right.
I'll just give you an example because this doesn't really affect anyone, but you kind of get the same people coming to work at this restaurant at every new restaurant. You get the same group of like
the openers.
The openers, right?
Yeah, okay.
You get this rush of openers, and literally, like my employer and I, we would literally say, "This person's not going to be here anymore." Like we know who's gone in like a few weeks, and we know the questions they're going to. That person, we will sit there and say that person's going to ask this specific question. And this person's going to be a pain in the ass during this whole training situation. We already know. We know the personalities.
Everyone's trying to figure out how to skim.
Yeah, we know it all. And we think, oh, after doing it for so many years, we're like, it's the same. Every fucking restaurant, they get the same group. It's like just different people, but the exact same
archetypes.
Same archetypes. Yeah. So fascinating. And then just running into different businesses. When I get in there, because just what I do differently that I think other computer companies don't do, I really try to understand my clients. Like I really have to because I come from a little different background than. I didn't just study computers, I came from a company that had no computers, and I kind of computerized them and kind of brought them up. So I try to do that with my current clients. That's how I kind of build my clients. But I have to know their industry in order to let them run efficiently. So I've got to really learn it. And by doing that, that's when I'm like, holy fuck, this thing runs like this. I would never have thought it ran this way, or it was so.
So it's a combination of almost like business consulting and user experience.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a cool spot to be in, to kind of the high level perspective of everything, and then getting down to the nitty gritty of like, okay, how can I make you guys perform better using these tools?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And not every client, wants to do that. Some people just like to run the way they run, and that's fine. But a lot of my clients ask me for advice on how could they be more efficient. Sure. Okay. Well, let's use technology,
Yeah, and that's trackable, which is great too.
Exactly. And the only reason why I got into technology is because I was fucking lazy. That's the bottom line. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to fucking write. My handwriting's atrocious. I can't even read my own handwriting. I'm like, give me a fucking computer. I'm going to type. And then I didn't want to fucking add shit up. Why? I got this computer. Let it add everything for me. Let it figure everything out. So I just learned how to code and just fucking let that thing just go. I didn't even know I was doing anything. I didn't want to physically have to fucking think
what's the
about
shortcut I can make?
Yeah, what's the shortcut? And that's the whole thing that got me into. There's a shortcut. Let me fucking write that shortcut.
Yeah, every once in a while that backfires because not that I'm lazy in the traditional sense, but I like things done in the smartest, most efficient manner possible.
Right.
So whenever I've started a new job, like somebody will train me. Inevitably, I find something horribly wrong with what they're doing, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, you have to. I'm like, no, I don't, because I'm going to do it this way. And they're like, you can't do that way. I'm like, says who? Like, I'm going to give you the exact same result with half the work. And then in short order, they're like, oh, we can do this with half the work by doing what this guy says. Like, this has happened in literally every office job I've ever had. Inevitably,
what happens is people get like tied into their ways.
Right. They're like, this is the way it's always been done.
Right.
But yeah, but that backfires on me all the time, because they're like, oh, now that you've freed up all this time by not doing it our old stupid way, we're going to add this new thing to your plate. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Thanks for more responsibility with the same pay.
Yeah, exactly.
What fascinates me is that the UFC gets bought out by a giant, huge corporation. And recently, one of my clients got bought out by a giant corporation. I came from Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a big corporation.
Yeah.
And I remember that whole corporate world. I fucking hated it. Like, just compartmentalized everything. Everything was like, okay, this is your job. You can't go outside that. This is even though we know you know how to do that.
You're in the silo.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I see my client, who's a great fucking, like, the American dream this guy lived. He started out with a single truck, and then built a giant, huge trucking company.
Wow.
And I know this guy.
You do know this guy. And it's amazing. I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world, and he's, I think he's going to be 59 or is 59, and this billion-dollar corporation comes over and says, we're going to buy you out, and he's like, show me the money. And they showed him the money, and he's like,
wow.
Okay. Now he's like super chill. He's like, I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's a different person. He's like, okay, yeah, let's
don't got to worry about nothing no more.
But now I'm like back in corporate fucking world, because I'm dealing with like this giant company that I have to like. Okay, I'm talking to you.
You have to meet all of
I
their.
gotta talk to you. There's like a fucking team of IT guys I gotta like deal with, and I got an email from this guy. I got an email. I'm like, come on, man, this is
Well, it's interesting that
inefficient.
It's also interesting they would even keep the same systems in place, because usually when somebody comes in,
this is where it gets strict.
Okay.
Systems integration, right?
Right. So now everything I've done,
they're undoing.
Right. So everyone's used this way that we've set up, not just me, but the whole company.
Sure.
This is not just, it's my input, my ideas, their ideas of how they want it to run, and now the owner's idea of how we wanted to run. And we created this system that was great, and it was only going to keep getting better. They come in, and we, no one knows what to expect.
Right.
Well, they expect.
So I work in this industry, and have worked in this industry for 20 years. So yeah, every time there's a corporate merger or a buyout or something like that, the new parent company has some type of software, and this happens in other industries as well. Obviously, this is transportation, but it has some type of software, transportation management software, a TMS system, typically that's abbreviated as. And they're like, well, we need your system to integrate with our system, so now we need to develop a bridge system that communicates between the two. There's all these fields that need to be matched up, and all this database, integration that needs to be handled and whatnot. And it's almost always a nightmare. For the smaller company.
Nightmare. Well, no. What's a nightmare is because this company is kind of larger than what they've bought out in the past, and the way they do things is a little bit different, because they bought out companies that maybe were like 2 million, 3 million, maybe up to 10 million. Mike is different. This is another scale.
Okay.
And so the way they operate, they're like, dude, we've got 150 something trucks, and this is not a 20 truck operation. And what the impact though is having is on the employees, because they're used to doing. I'm thinking, on me, it's annoying. I got to deal with all these people.
They're the ones trying to get deliveries places and.
Right, but now think about the employees that work there who have been doing this job for the past 10, 15 years, and they're setting this is the way we do it, and now they're retrained on a system that sucks. It's so horrible. I'm like, you're doing like triple the fucking work. People are going to fucking walk out. The people are like, what am I staying here for? This is ridiculous. It's not even efficient, because they can explain efficiency, and they're like, yeah, we agree with you, but this is what we got, so you guys gotta do it this way. And they're like,
why don't you just upsell that huge company all your stuff?
So I thought of that, but the problem is it's corporate, man, and you can't. And it's a publicly traded company. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. It's just not.
They've
doesn't
already
work that way. And
invested
that's-
so much time and money in a
Right.
given program.
And that's why I want to come back to the UFC. I mean, the UFC, since they got bought out, I've seen it only get better.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting to me because I know they have a lot more personnel. I know there's a lot more, compartments and stuff like that and departments and stuff like that. It seems to have run pretty fucking good.
So they've started viewing themselves differently. So they switched the paradigm, right? They were a fight promotion. Now they almost view themselves as a media company because
An
they're putting
entertainment empire.
Yeah. I mean, they're putting out so much content with Fight Pass and with all ESPN Plus. Like, I mean, and then they have all this input from Ari and his. I mean, that's a huge brain in the room, with a lot of really smart people below him. I mean, yeah, it would be hard for that to fail. Really, it's a monster.
Right. So yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, the way they're doing it, I'm very impressed. Considering it's a giant, huge corporation, and they seem to run pretty efficient, and they keep building on top of that, and obviously making money, right?
Yeah, I would assume they're also tapping into way more markets now. So they're that's I mean
worldwide
I think,
markets. Bigger.
Yeah, worldwide particularly. They're not really concerned too much with the hardcore fan from the 90s, but they're new eyes. Who can I get on this? And it's going to be like, oh, let me break into China. Let me break into Russia. Like
right.
Untapped resources with talent. I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, Khabib's got to be like a huge favor for them now in terms of bringing that market in.
Yeah, and then the Chinese girl that just won the title.
Right.
I mean, she's a beast.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Zhang or something.
Yeah.
Wei Li.
That sounds correct, but I don't want to embarrass myself and be wrong, so I'm just going to nod sage-like.
Yeah, something like that. Something
Correct.
like that.
Correct.
Yeah. But no, I mean, there was fights on the other night.
The Mexico card last night?
Yeah.
That was a bit of
The
a
main
mess in
event
the end.
was eye poke and done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yair
but
was
Carla
really upset about that,
Esparza-
it seemed. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is her arm okay?
I mean,
She seemed okay.
still attached.
Right. Oh,
That was
man.
crazy.
Yeah. Like,
We sponsored her back in the day, and we ran into her. God, we were in California for a fight, and I think Beth and Rara ended up going to the fight, got tickets because we know. I don't know him that well, but Tamara has a good friendship with Sean Shelby, so she'll hit Sean up and be like, "Hey, I'm in town. Maybe we can get some tickets or whatever." And usually he can come through, as a matchmaker.
yeah,
for
I was about to say, UFC
Got some
matchmaker.
pull.
He's got a little bit of pull, I imagine.
I would hope so.
Yeah, but like when they were in Chicago last, I went down and had drinks with him, and he's a really cool guy. I mean, very.
I would love to talk to him, like not necessarily even on the show, but just like what goes into
Oh, man.
figuring out the fights. Like,
Yeah.
what are your primary concerns? Things
Well,
like
and
that.
just the amount
yeah.
of like he deals with a lot of the personalities,
Right.
So it's like I mean, there's guys who like Cerrone.
Does he deal with the contract negotiations?
I think so.
Oh, does he?
I don't know if he does that, but he's definitely like that has to factor in when you're offering a guy a fight. Like what somebody's going to get paid or their contract, where they're at in their contract, that
You
kind of
think.
stuff. Yeah. So
What do the fighters' contracts look like? I mean, is it like 5-year, 3-year, 10?
I think it's fight deals. So it
Number
doesn't.
of fights.
Yeah, number of fights. So it's like 3 fight, 5
yeah.
fight, 7 fight, that kind of thing.
Oh, so it's not time based.
No, like
Okay.
you can retire with 2 on your contract, and if you decide to unretire for Bellator, you have to go figure out what's up with that UFC contract. Yeah,
I see.
yeah, they're very tight contracts from what I understand. But yeah, it's interesting being a fly on the wall and hearing some of the stuff that goes on, and
I bet.
I probably shouldn't say anything on a
Yeah,
podcast.
Watch your words. Don't want you to get in any trouble, but
Oh, that's okay. You can say whatever you want. Nobody listens.
nobody listens to this podcast.
Not
Is
at
that,
all.
yeah. Definitely not true.
So I know you and I went to California.
Yeah,
And that was a blast.
it was a blast.
I still
got
very
hurt.
upset.
I did get injured.
But-
Fucking rib injury.
I know. I drove you to the
that before-
chiropractor.
Was that before or after Ronda Rousey's mom picked you up?
was after.
It was after, yeah.
Okay.
She might have done that.
Yeah, the woman's a beast.
So Jake's, where were we just walking down?
So we were in Venice.
Yeah, we were in Venice.
We were in
Just
Venice,
walking
and
around,
I tweeted a photo of him like, oh, I'm in Venice, and then she messaged me on Twitter.
Right.
What are you doing in Venice? I'm down the street. I'm like, first of all, how did you even see my tweet?
Right.
But cool. And she was like, she's like, let's grab coffee. I was like, all right.
Yeah, we just walk and meet up with Rhonda's mother.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Dr. Anne Marie. She's a
lady.
pistol.
She is an intense woman.
Yeah.
She is.
She's a badass.
We had a great conversation.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
We were there for like a couple hours, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she hung out for a while.
Fuck yeah.
She's like, oh, I got to get back.
And she crushed my ribs.
Yeah. She's like, I can pick you up.
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
You were shocked. You're like smiling. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I was shocked.
You're
that
not a
she was
big dude, first of all.
I understand that, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting her just to, fucking bear hug me and fucking launch me.
You should have. I was gonna say you should be happy she didn't launch you.
Yeah, it's concrete.
It's true. It was concrete.
Yeah. Hope you're not a break fall. He doesn't.
A lot of needles around there,
It's true.
Yeah. Alternative threats there.
That was a blast. Yeah, I think I got injured. That sucked. But we went to comedy. That was the dark days of the Comedy Store. That was before Joe Rogan was back.
I believe so. Yeah. But I mean, man, that place you just show up.
Yeah.
And it's just one comic after another doing 10, 15-minute sets and just bang, bang, bang. And even if you're like just, audience member 7 in the room, it's still a good time.
Yeah.
It's still a good time.
I've never actually gone. I've driven past it each time. Well, no, twice now. I've driven past it, and every single time I've driven past it, it's packed.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's
I'm like, where does anyone park? Like, do I need to
There's
Uber
a parking
or-
garage next to it.
Right.
Yeah,
That you can get in.
It looked full.
The room we were in, that's the OR room? Or is that the...
So the main room looks like an actual stage, like an elevated stage.
That's where we were. The when you first walk in to the left, that's the main room.
The main room, so there's like a lower stage, there's the belly room, there's the main room, and then there's the original room. So I'm not sure which one we were in. I think we might have been, because I've been a couple times, so I'm trying to and those nights are so long. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Because the last time I went, we saw Rogan, and that was in the main room, the main room. And then after his show, we bought another ticket to go into the original room where they just do like the 10-minute sets of just comic after comic after comic.
Where's that room at?
It's
what's on the
like
walls?
different.
Is that where all the?
So that's probably the main room, is the one with on the walls.
The signatures.
Yeah. And they have them. They have like the signatures kind of all over the place, like leading to the different rooms.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm talking about the neon ones. Do you remember those?
I'd have to. They might have remodeled since the last time you
Really?
were there too.
It's been a while. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun.
That sushi was fucking awesome.
On the rooftop place.
Yeah.
That was legit.
Dude.
That was legit.
What rooftop place is this?
I don't remember.
By the,
I don't know.
By the.
Those
We had
near- it was
we
near
had
a
a
Comedy Store.
good like no, that was near our hotel, wasn't it?
Oh, was
it was in downtown LA because
It
there's
was
no
downtown.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so we were within walking distance of HQ, and then we were staying at an Airbnb that had
That's 10th Planet HQ for reference.
Yeah, and then there was a Whole Foods in the apartment building across the street or something like that.
I know
so
that
it was
Whole
like
Foods, yeah.
yeah, it was great. And then that sushi place, I think we just looked up a sushi place and you found Zito, the expert at finding
The sushi
quality
expert.
restaurants. He's like,
just
oh
knows
yeah,
how to Yelp
rooftop
better than the
sushi.
rest of you.
Boom. Yeah,
Yeah, that was good.
It was a good time.
That was good. But that fucking room we stayed at was a little on the small side.
Well, I
We
mean,
were
just
crammed.
because I was sharing a bed with 2 other grown men.
Me and
Full-size
Joey-
grown men or-
Me and Joey Z were stuck together and on the couch, the
Yeah.
pull-out couch.
And I was with.
We were
I know
buddies.
Josh was in bed with me, and
That's too much beard for one bed, man.
yeah,
That's a lot.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah. Who else was it?
God, there's been so many training trips. I know I shared one with Spica and Josh at one point, but that wasn't that trip. I think that was in.
Greg was with you guys, and so was Garrity along on that one?
I don't think Garrity was.
This is probably weird radio for everyone else. For the
Yeah,
record.
sorry guys.
Whatever. There were people with us.
Right,
Yeah.
right, no, I remember seeing
And we all
pictures.
slept in the same bed. It was,
Right.
And it was in
Like you do.
California.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Totally acceptable.
No, we've had a ton of team training trips where we didn't have enough bed space. So like the choice is
Well,
double
it's-
up or sleep on the floor. You know,
I mean, I slept in one of those, was it like an air mattress that deflated? So it ended up like an air taco by the time it was
Your
over.
ass is touching the ground and you're elevated on the sides.
Amber slept in a chair, like not a nice chair either, like a desk chair.
Oh, really?
Jesus.
Yeah. I was like,
See, when I book the Airbnbs, typically for any type of team trip, I'm like, what's our cutoff? Like, how many people am I going to try to cram into this place?
Right.
Oh, we have 16 people in a house. Okay, I'm gonna plan appropriately, not get a teeny tiny ass house and hope that 16 people can fit.
yeah. The last California trip we did, I helped locate the Airbnb, so we had pretty decent accommodations.
A little better, yeah.
In the same area, but just a bigger room. It wasn't like a studio. But yeah, those trips are just good times. I mean, it's like good camaraderie, good training, good stories, good food.
Yeah, no, it's like a little vacation.
The rest is the only thing that
with
sucks.
your buddies.
The sleep.
Occasionally, yeah. But man, I'm not going to name names, but went on a team trip one time, not with this group of guys, and one of the dudes got massively hammered, and it's right before we all got a fight the night before.
Paul Maloney?
No, not. I would just say Paul if it was
Exactly.
Paul. Okay.
Plus, Paul doesn't get drunk. It's a weird thing.
He just drinks.
He just drinks, but
He's Irish.
yeah, he just, I don't know.
Built up a tolerance,
I think so.
or does he just have adequate self-control?
I think he's got self-control.
But yeah, so
We'll go with that.
So
Sounds good.
goes out, gets hammered. A bunch of the guys are going up that very next day for the tournament and whatnot. And he comes in, falls asleep. There's like 3 guys in the same room with him, 4 guys, can't remember exactly. And all of a sudden, and I got a door on my, like they're sleeping in like the living room area. I got the door. With the door closed, I can hear.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Just
what
trying
the
to stay
hell?
alive.
Yeah. What the hell is going on? And I go out there, and he's snoring so loud. And one of the other guys is like, I'm going to smother him in a pillow. I'm going to kill him if he doesn't shut up. What do we do? And fortunately, we put that other dude who had to fight that next day, we put him in another room.
Sure.
There was no waking the other guy who was just passed out.
Somebody needs some rest.
Yeah.
Speaking of Paul, what was that message he was sending the other night about Ryan Hall and someone?
Oh, no. Yeah. So
What was that all about? I was barely
Tristan
paying
Connolly
attention.
just had a really awesome fight, and he was saying stylistically he would love to see him versus Ryan Hall. Like, that'd be an amazing fight.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, it would, but they're unfortunately not in the same weight classes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't see, like, Ryan's very cautious.
Ryan's a
about
45er, right?
Yeah, he's a 145er.
Ryan and Crone are in the same. Oh, no,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's
yes.
that's an interesting matchup.
That would be interesting.
And Ryan
Just
would
from
be
the
down for
anti-leg
that
locking.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan for
Aspect.
sure would be down for that fight.
Fuck yeah.
I've seen
Well,
a
Crone's going against what's his name? The kid from he put those tattoos on his sides.
You've just described 90% of the UFC fighters.
Well, remember when we did that rash guard? That Paul and I did that rash guard where someone had to wear it. I forgot who had to fucking wear it. We did a bet, and the bet was that they had to wear this ridiculous rash guard. This is at 10th
Okay.
Planet, and the rash guard was a bunch of fucking horrible tattoos.
Okay, this guy has actual tattoos like that
And this guy has, part of the horrible tattoos are the palm trees on his waist.
on his hips.
Oh, Cub Swanson.
Thank you.
yeah, okay.
There you go.
Cub
Sorry,
Swanson.
Cub.
You
Sorry,
just
Cub.
mentioned
He's been to a Fight Chix after party.
Zito does not approve of your tattoos.
No, they're fine, but they're very they're palm trees on your hips.
It was probably not one of his better decisions.
Also, you don't know what those palm trees connect to.
That's true.
Maybe there's
bizarre. It's
maybe there's more on the
To his-
canvas.
There's a lot of root down there.
Whatever. So anyway, so Crone's fighting Cub Swanson next.
Right.
That's an interesting. I mean, he's not taking any slouches. He wants the best of the best.
Well, I mean, they're definitely not throwing him to the top 5.
No.
No.
Well, and that's
Well, he's
probably by plan. Think
Right.
about it.
I hope so.
If they're smart,
you have a
they'll build
Gracie
him.
in the UFC, you don't want to be like, here, go take,
I don't know, but like
Frank Edgar.
I think it's smart to build
Right.
him. Like I
It
absolutely
is.
think it's smart to
I
build
agree.
fighters in general.
I agree.
But by the same token, the UFC has 100% taken like some hot prospect, gets in the UFC, let's feed him to a murderer and see how he does.
done that too.
Plenty of times. Like
done
the laundry list of
And you have to wonder too, is that how much of that is the fighter and how much of that is the UFC? Because
I don't know. I'm not in on those contract negotiations.
There's definitely guys who come in from other organizations that the UFC might want to make an example of, and then there's definitely guys that like, oh, you've won titles in all these organizations. Let's see how you do against our number 3,
right,
or whatever. But there's definitely guys that they would want to kind of bring along a little slower and
build the name, build the brand. Yeah. I don't know. They seem less good about building fighters than, say, boxing, for example.
Yeah. Well, boxing, I mean, they're notorious for feeding you cans until you're 20-0 or something, and then you look like a world beater.
I don't know that it necessarily needs to be that extreme. But I'm just saying, though, like you build an impressive record. The promoters and the managers know how to be like, okay, kid, you seem ready for the next level. Let's test it with this guy, not that guy. UFC, you've
been out 2 years with an injury. Let's give you a tune-up fight.
Right.
No,
yeah, that doesn't happen in the UFC.
Yeah,
but you know what's an impressive record in the UFC? It's usually not. It's under 10 fights. I mean, it's like 4-0 or 5-1. That's an impressive record.
It also depends on whether you did them all in a row. I think
boxing is like you said, it's like 20, and
right.
There's so many more fights in boxing,
right?
But they're not all televised.
No, and they're different promotions. They're jumping around. Yeah,
with the UFC, these fighters are only fighting in the UFC. What they did before that?
Well, I mean,
it matters. Really? It matters. I mean, look at Khabib.
Khabib's record isn't all UFC fights. It's like
12-0. Yeah,
12 UFC fights, but they don't talk about 12-0. They talk about, what is it now, 27-0?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. That's right. So it's not all. So where's other promotions come in at? And do they have those stats on those other promotions?
Yeah, probably.
On the UFC?
If they're part of Fight Pass, they'll have the statistics.
Okay.
But a lot of those, it's better to get those kind of stats from like Sherdog, yeah, the Underground.
So the feeder promotion for the UFC is what?
A bunch of them. There's no one promotion.
RFA is probably the biggest.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where did Khabib come from?
Russia.
Well, Dagestan specifically, but yeah.
So he wasn't in like another organization prior.
I think he fought in over there, and then
that record is a professional record.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't include like his combat sambo matches or anything like that. That's
his wrestling
his
matches.
MMA. Yeah, that's MMA specific.
But that's MMA in Dagestan,
right,
or Russia or whatever.
If it's a pro promotion in Europe or Russia, they'll count that on your
Like,
record.
they don't ever count AMI fights. Like it's only pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his professional fights, he was, before coming to the UFC, he was like 18-0 or 17-0. Was he 12 fights in the UFC? He's
12 in the UFC. He's 27-0 now.
So yeah, 15.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he just smothers everyone.
Yeah, how about that? It's incredible.
It's frightening, like the levels, because I mean, there's guys like, man, you're just like, this guy's really, really good, and then he does that to them,
right?
Right?
It's just like what's going to come. His game plan. He'll tell you, "This is what I'm going to do to you," and he does it to you. I'm really curious to see how him versus Tony Ferguson is going to go.
Is that going to happen though?
That's the plan. I mean,
well,
here's the latest.
We've got the GSP Khabib hype train going in one direction, and the Ferguson Khabib hype train going in the other. So basically,
Dana said if for some reason Tony can't fight, he would entertain GSP versus Khabib, which would be crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. I mean, that'd do ridiculous numbers, but
it'd probably be the biggest UFC.
I also love,
who was it?
love how confident GSP is about that. Like he's like, yeah, no problem.
Is he really?
Yeah. Like he's not, I don't think he's looking past Khabib. He's just like, everything he does, I do better.
Except wrestling. I mean,
and GSP is confident that he can out wrestle.
I think he would counter wrestle Khabib. Well, I don't think he would go to the ground with him. I think what he would do is keep on the end of the jab.
Yep.
And maybe leg kick the shit out of him.
Right. Yeah.
But
I'm not saying that would actually be his strategy. He's just presenting that you're like, Khabib can't do anything that I can't do better. I'm not worried at all. Like his talk about it is very, very
it's also
intriguing.
Interesting. Because he would have to go down to 55 for that.
That's what's so crazy.
Well, yes, no, because
unless they did a catch weight.
Right, I was going to say, if they make it a title fight, which I assume they would want to, yes. But they could, I mean, Khabib doesn't walk around at 155. He cuts to that.
Sure.
For that big of a payday, because it's going to do huge numbers wherever they put it. For that big of a payday, Khabib might be like, fuck it. Let's meet it this weight, and GSP can just as easily
that's
be
the
like,
other
yes,
thing, though.
let's.
I mean, does Khabib need the money?
No, but like that's a legacy fight, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
He called it. That's what he wants. Well, I was watching an interview with his manager, and his manager said this is what Khabib wants. Khabib wants GSP, and he says Khabib walks around heavier than GSP does.
Yeah.
And he makes 55, so he goes. He can make. 55.
I've straight up heard guys say that Khabib walks around close to 190.
That's what I heard him say too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And St. Pierre walks around like 188, 185, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He's not that giant, you know.
No.
I mean,
he still looks like he's good.
They
shape.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're big. Yeah, compared to us for sure. But
yeah,
it's not like
they're not.
crazy.
Yeah, they're not like Ngannou size or anything. But
Right.
they are.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. But
or Anthony Johnson.
Once
size.
you
Anthony Johnson would make that weight. Think about that.
He made 170. Did he make 55? I don't think he
I think
ever
he
did.
almost killed himself.
I think he almost
back in the
killed
day.
himself back in the day for that. Fuck that
Yeah.
dude. He's coming back
at heavyweight. He's got to get all the steroids out of his system first.
Yeah.
He played around.
Allegedly.
Well, because he was
Alleged
doing. He
steroids.
was like, I'm going to be a bodybuilder,
Oh yeah,
and then I mean, he had no neck.
Jack City.
So that's got to
Yeah,
I wouldn't
Into the
mind seeing
testing
Rumble
pool.
again, to be honest.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I generally
a
enjoy his
heavyweight.
fights.
Him and Ngannou. That's the kickoff fight.
Who's John Jones fighting? Anybody? Who the fuck is left for that guy to fight?
USADA.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody outside the cage that'll give him a run first money.
Well, they're talking. They're talking that they're going to do Miocic versus
Cormier 3.
Cormier 3 is the next fight for Miocic.
Yeah.
So
It is?
John hasn't said that he wants to move up. I mean, there's some up and comers that want to test him, but it's like
I don't know. Like
John Jones's biggest.
John Jones is probably hoping that DC wins the title back and then do another round of that.
Yeah, but again,
long is he gonna sit on
at
the
205, I don't know. I don't know what he's scheduled for. I mean, he was pretty hurt after that last fight with that one dude.
That leg.
Well, that guy tore like all his ACLs.
Yeah, that was messed up.
And did that in like the first round and kept fighting. So
Right.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
But no, I think John is going to go down as the GOAT, and unfortunately, his biggest opponent has been himself outside the cage.
You think he'll go down as a GOAT above Khabib?
Yeah, just based on competition right now. I mean,
Look
at the guys Jones beat at like.
Yeah, this is the problem that
22.
Johnson deals with. That everyone's like, he's kind of the GOAT, but
Right. I mean, Mighty
for
Mouse.
Sure, for sure, John
Amazing
Jones.
mixed martial artist. When it comes to just pure mixing the game up,
Yeah.
Mighty
But
Mouse
in
is
terms
ridiculous.
of name recognition, name value of the
I mean,
opponents,
he was just
Jones
knocking
is-
off champions at like 22 years old, back to back
true.
to back. It's
But
crazy.
Were they? I guess.
I mean,
they were
Shogun,
pretty in prime.
Like
Shogun's
Shogun Machida.
still fighting. It's just crazy. I can't believe he's still on the roster.
Rashad is supposedly coming back.
Oh come on,
I was like, bro,
dude.
I mean,
Why? He does
don't
great
know.
as a commentary.
I
do
know.
love him on commentary.
Fuck, he's
yeah.
great.
He's really good. He doesn't need to do it again.
He
But
probably.
he got his
ultimately,
release.
I assume he
Who's going to fight?
wants to do it again.
Who's going to fight against?
It's not even going to be in the UFC. They released him, and he's open to exploring other offers. So he could go fight in Bellator. He'll go fight Chael in Bellator.
There you go. Chael would be super happy to promote that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would not take any brain damage in that fight. No, because Chael can't hit.
Right. Yeah, man. There's so many good fights coming up. Holloway's now going against what's that? Starts at a V.
This is where you need a Jamie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie,
Pull that
pull
up,
that
Jamie.
shit up. I know who you're talking about.
That's gonna be a
Volkanovski.
good, yeah, Volkanovski. That's going to be a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be an exciting fight, but not as big as Nate Diaz versus fucking the man
Jorge
Jorge
Masvidal.
Masvidal.
for the BMF title.
I can't wait to see that belt. As a designer, I'm like, what are they going to do?
So long as
What
it
do you
doesn't look
think?
like that.
I want a
shitty
spinner. It should have a spinner.
Fuck.
So you're in favor of a strongly over the top belt?
Oh, yeah, why not? I
Gaudy
mean,
as fuck.
Yeah,
Just,
just rubies and
So-
everything. Throw everything in that.
Rubies.
it should have like a noisemaker. Like
See, I kind of, not that it wasn't gaudy, don't get me wrong, it just wasn't quite that degree of
Yeah.
over the top. But like, I really miss the old belt because to me it looked like an old
fighter's
style
belt, yeah.
not just fighters, like it looked like an old style pro wrestling belt.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you look at like the WW
Dude, the Pride
at the time,
belt is my
WWF.
favorite belt.
Oh yeah, no. Well, Pride did everything right basically.
I miss it.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen a Pride belt, or I can't remember it.
I'll bring mine next time.
They're beautiful. They're like big and like, but they did like a silver instead of a gold.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just silver and black. That's it.
Nice.
Nice,
Simple, clean
design.
Yeah.
That Midwest
But
Finishers
huge.
belt's like that. Omar's belt. It's very clean, very nice.
I would like one of those.
Why don't you? Well, you have to get him. Are you doing the next competition?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are.
Oh shit!
Midwest
Is
Finishers.
this a breaking news right now?
This is breaking news.
Oh,
It
boy.
is. Wow, breaking news, Javier.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in
Throwing
with the 135ers.
135.
Dang.
Can you make that weight?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm
what he
just wondering.
compete regularly at 135.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much,
No.
pretty much
Do you?
constantly. Yes.
IBJJF, you. Oh yeah, that's
all the
no key.
organizations. I mean,
136
okay,
IBJJF.
I occasionally go up. Like if I need to get opponents.
Yeah.
I mean, I walk around a bit heavier than that, but yeah, I'm right between the weight classes. So
All
I
right,
can
so
do
you're
feather
when's that event?
26th,
October 26th.
October 26th.
Wow. At his
At Lombard,
Beautiful.
10th Planet Lombard.
So who's on that?
I am not sure how many names I'm allowed to discuss yet, so I don't want to say.
Is there a Tackett on there?
Maybe.
A what?
Fuck. Forget
Tackett
it,
Brothers?
dude. I'll-
Jesus
sorry,
Christ,
dude.
he doesn't like my chances immediately.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Immediately, I'm saying sorry.
Dang.
Just let them walk in. Just hand them the fucking belt.
Wow.
Those you ever
no
see those
love.
kids?
No love.
Tackett, they're brothers, right?
I feel bad. No,
Yeah, Tim-
I'm
Tim
not.
Tackett.
I'm probably like I love jujitsu.
Yeah.
I love training, but I like
Hard to keep up with the sport.
Yeah,
These
there's so
fucking
many
kids
people. Like
are
I'm like, okay, Gordon
so
Ryan makes a
good.
lot of noise, so I and he's hilarious on Instagram, so I'll follow him. But and then everybody else, I'm like, well, Gordon Ryan's better. 'Cause he says so.
He says he's the best. He must. The Tackett brother. I've seen them
Yeah,
live.
it's Tim and William, right?
William. I
That's-
know one of them's William. Yeah.
Where do they train out of?
I don't even know. to be
I
honest
can't
with
remember
you.
the name of the gym. It's down in Texas.
Okay, so they're not local.
No, they're
No,
not local,
no.
but phenomenal. I mean, beautiful jiu-jitsu. Beautiful jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying Javi doesn't have beautiful jiu-jitsu. I'm just saying.
He's just predicting that they're going to destroy me if they're there. That's all he's
kinda
predicting.
rough,
Thanks.
I'm just saying.
Damn.
Wait, if your
They're-
teammates back there.
No, not at all. Bruno, edit this part out. Jesus. All right. Cut from commercial. So you were saying how awesome I am and how I'm going to take the whole thing?
Basically, going to get that belt. That's what I'm saying. Basically, it's just walk in, give Javi the belt, call it a day.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sweet.
That's it.
Nah, so.
Or at least have Omar like tell us who makes the belt so we can get a replica.
Just get my own.
It's a nice belt. It's heavy. It's fucking beautiful.
Like,
I don't know who does
Omar,
it.
hit me up. I want to make a miniature one. I'm just going to wear it as like a
bracelet.
wristwatch.
Nice.
Yeah, but the baddest motherfucker belt. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That-
I got some ideas of how I would like to see it, but I just don't. I don't
Like
know
a
what they're
spray
thinking.
painted UFC
Yeah,
belt. One of those
exactly.
deal, like an NWO.
Yeah, NWO, like or like Taz's old FTW belt from ECW.
Now you're reaching because that one I don't know.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I don't know.
just trust me, it's cool. It's a cool belt. Sakurada
that's
had
gonna
a
be
cool
a-
belt too back in the day. Like I can't remember. I think he just called it the Saku belt or something like that.
he had his own belt.
Yeah, he like gave himself his own belt.
how mad are Kobe Covington and Usman?
Oh god, they're gonna be
idiots.
I mean, they're
furious.
so mad because they're like trying to get paid, and they're like, "Sorry, Nate Diaz just made his own title up,
right.
so
Like,
you guys are off MSG later."
They're fucking. How dumb can you fucking be, really?
Wait. Kobe and
Yeah.
Kamaru, you're saying?
Yeah, or Kobe more than Kamaru.
I mean,
because according to the press conference of Dana White's, Kobe
Well-
was on Kobe's. I don't know how much I believe of Dana White, but
Did he have the option to take Kamaru or Woodley, right?
Right.
And chose neither.
I chose neither.
Because he wants to get paid. He wants a salary renegotiation or something. I don't know. It makes sense. I mean, they're independent contractors. He's
Putting asses in seats.
He's probably putting asses in seats, but not as many as he thinks he is. But he's like, some of those asses are the Trump's asses, so they're there. Like that should count for something.
Well, I mean, for sure, there's a lot of people that want to see him lose. Like
Yeah.
he's doing a good troll job. He
And it is a troll job. Let's
Right.
be perfectly
But
clear.
He says it. I mean, he literally said it on that Shab podcast.
Yeah.
here's the thing
Or
though, like
Food Truck Diary.
Right, Food Truck
like,
Diaries.
okay, and again, like the really important thing with pro wrestling is we're in control of the results, so we can balance the scales, and the heel and the face
Right.
can go back and forth
Right.
and make it interesting. Like here's the thing. Not only is Colby winning all the time, so like his inevitable downfall will be that much greater, of course, but you also have this problem that how many guys in the UFC are actually playing the face role? Like,
Yeah.
there's some guys that are over in a sort of face-like way, but they're mostly all playing the heel role.
Right. They're like, Conor made a lot of money being a
Dick.
you know,
Let's
yeah.
all be dicks. And it's like, this doesn't work when you're all unlikable assholes. Like, you have to have contrast. That's what makes the emotion of the fight, you know, if we're going to play it pro wrestling style. I don't want to go to a fight where on a technical level, these guys are amazing, but I want both of them to lose.
Right.
You know,
right.
like if they would just both die in the arena so I never have to deal with their bullshit again, I'd be perfectly happy.
Double knockout.
Still one of the most amazing moments ever, especially the way Shoney sold it. Like the facial. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that video,
You've seen that.
Easily
It's a reference
YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. YouTube and
knows.
Instagram. Yeah. Just look up Shoney Carter
I
double
forgot
knockout.
we had Shoney on this podcast.
How was that?
That was fucking nuts,
Man,
That was the
he would
craziest
come to our
episode.
events in the city. We would do Fight Chix events. We would do like viewing parties. We're like, Shoney, you want to come? He came out to Maple Avenue Pub in Lisle and just set up
hang out.
court. You know, he's like, oh, all the Fight Chix models and then running around in booty shorts, and he was having a good old time.
I remember going to that event. I think it was one of those Gracie Nationals. And he was
across from us.
He was
Yeah,
he had
Walking around the hat.
his belts.
all his belts. I'm like,
he needed like a
push cart.
dolly, yeah, to bring all those in.
fucking crazy. Oh my god, when he was on this podcast, it was the nuttiest fucking. I don't even remember the episode, but I know
I
it was
remember so much of it.
Crazy.
He dropped some bombs on that one too.
Did, man. And
Yeah.
he like, just
I'm gonna
told
go
his
back and
phone
listen
number
to it.
out.
Oh yeah.
He just
Oh, do you know
called
that
me.
you,
Like,
you
what?
guys know the
Dude.
craziest Shoney story, right?
Let's assume not.
All right.
Enlighten us.
You guys know what the underground is. You do.
The
You do. Okay.
most infamous forum for
Yes.
MMA that ever existed.
So apparently he was partying somewhere, I believe it was in Detroit, and somebody slipped him something. He doesn't know what happened, but he woke up in Turkey, the country.
No fucking way.
Somebody got him on a private jet. He didn't have a wallet. He didn't have a phone. He managed to get to a computer. And where did he go for advice?
The underground.
The fucking underground.
Like in Turkey.
Yeah, and
really?
he will admit to the story. He's oh yeah, that happened.
Wow.
And he eventually got to like an American embassy, and you know he's got a military background record, so like things were figured out, and he managed to get back to the country, obviously. But yeah, be careful what people slip in your drink because you may end up in Turkey.
Damn. Fucking crazy.
But how crazy is it that he goes to the underground and then there's a thread of just like, Shoney, you got to go here. You got to do this.
Right.
Like giving him advice
Right. Well,
at an internet cafe.
the best worst part about that is you damn well know there was one guy that was reading that day and he like deals with like international law or something for his job. And he's like, this is it. This is my moment. I've waited my whole life.
Right.
Just such an, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, Shoney, man. We had some really fucking good episodes with some crazy motherfuckers.
I mean,
Jeez.
Shoney's like just, not that I doubt him or anything, but like the stuff the guy's done, you know, like just.
He just nonstop, competes nonstop. He got twisted in his underwear at Fight to Win. I mean, that was beautiful.
I mean, he only had to look out for 3 moves. That's only got 3 moves. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was one of them, unfortunately.
Right?
Yeah. I know I told you guys earlier that we're doing that event. I'm helping do that event called
You should know the event by name by now.
you would think, right? I don't know the event by name. I'm
It's a
talking with
benefit.
Kenny.
It's a benefit to
PreventCancer.org,
Prevent cancer.
right? So it's,
Yep.
I guess it's working with PreventCancer.org
Right.
in some way because that's all the proceeds are going to. The event is going to be here at Pan Fitness Factory in John Tutai's Brazilian
Brandly
Jiu-Jitsu.
remodeled, beautiful gym.
It is a really beautiful facility.
Fucking is it? You see those cages? He just got those cages.
Yeah, we
put
were
in.
like John. I was like, we gotta film some technique in here soon.
Yeah, right. Did you bring your gi?
I
Oh, that's right.
I rarely wear the gi. Only when I go to the Origin camp do I put the gi on.
Which we should talk about, by the
Yeah,
way.
we definitely should
Yeah.
talk about that.
So getting back to the so it's preventcancer.org. It's October 13th, and so far the instructors are going to be Carlson Gracie Jr., Adam Resnick, Andre Maneko. Those are the 3 we have confirmed.
Still working on the
still
others.
working on some others.
So we're gonna have 5, right? That's the.
I think that's the goal, is to have 5.
Yeah.
And it's an open donation seminar. So basically, come,
Pay what you want.
Pay what you want and hang out and, just
beautiful.
support the cause. So this one-day event is going to actually happen in California, and you saw the promo that he sent. But
a variety. So the objective is to one day get it to the point where it's happening basically
like a
every
holiday.
state, every day.
It's a
It's like
holiday.
Exactly.
a jiu-jitsu holiday almost.
for PreventCancer.org.
Yeah,
right.
and that's a beautiful cause to.
Yeah. So I'll be shouting that out for next few podcasts to get the word out, and then helping me out with
How about we cut an actual promo for it once we get all the full information, and therefore can.
So
simplify
right now
things.
it's going to be
We
here.
can share stuff on Fight Chix stuff too.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
I'll share it out.
I think it's 10 a.m. tentatively right now, but Brazilian time. If we have all Brazilian instructors, it's
No,
going to be Brazilian
Adam
time.
Redzovic, not a. Yeah.
That's true. Adam,
He'll be first.
Adam will be
Adam,
first.
you have this time slot because we count on you to be punctual.
Exactly. So so it's a good cause, obviously, and I'm looking forward to it. I just like Kenny Jewell, who also does a Grapple TV podcast, hit me up and he's like, "Hey, you want to help out?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm in."
Yeah,
That's cool.
Any way we can, man. Glad to help a good cause.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and John out there, he's just told me that his mother was just diagnosed and she's trying to beat cancer right now. So as soon as I asked him if we can use his space, like, dude, I'm in. Yeah, what do you guys need?
No, 100%.
It's just it affects so many people, man. It's really, really crazy.
I mean, it's terrible to think about it, but I don't know anyone in my life that it hasn't touched in some way, like a family member, someone, a close personal friend, someone. Yeah, everyone's had a bad or sometimes a miraculous experience with it.
Yeah. No, my mom passed in 2014 from breast cancer.
I remember.
So it's a brutal thing to watch, and not only experience but watch. Right. I mean, for the whole family,
Right.
It's rough, but that was a sad segue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we're gonna fight it. So that's
we're gonna fight it
important.
with
Jocko discipline.
Yes, discipline equals freedom.
Thanks for bringing that.
Yeah, this is a unique opportunity here that we were presented.
Yeah, so I was listening to previous episodes and everyone kept bringing you alcohol and you said no.
No,
It's in the refrigerator.
Right,
No,
it's
I mean-
totally fine if they drink alcohol.
Right.
It's just we're both non-drinkers.
And I was actually making fun of I didn't make fun of Drew yet, but I will. And I might as well do
For
it
his White
publicly.
Claw?
Yeah, man, White Claw. I went to a realtor event and our realtor was drinking White Claw. I'm like, you are such a basic bitch. And then I listened to the podcast. I was like, oh my god, Drew's slamming White Claws too. Full disclosure, I've never tried White Claw. It's probably delicious.
Isn't it just Zima?
It's a cool-
rebranded Zima?
Right? That's what I thought.
I thought isn't it just like seltzer water that's
Alcoholic
with
seltzer
alcohol?
water.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if that Zima had sugar in it, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah, maybe.
not. Maybe sorry.
'cause I get it if it's
maybe
like a
rebranded
fitness-
healthier.
Yeah.
Healthier Zima.
Healthy-
I mean, White Claw is a cool brand, a cool name.
Yeah.
White Claw. It's pretty dope.
Well, this coming from the saber-tooth guy, but
Right,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
it's got sharp edges. I'm in. But no, the Jocko, the origin stuff. I mean, man, everything they do, 100% made in America. And obviously, if you guys don't know who Jocko is, he's a third-degree black belt under Dean Lister and a former Navy SEAL commander. And he is one of the instructors at the Origin camp that I've gone to, which
That is
in Farmington, Maine.
Farmington, Maine.
So picture on Lake Echo, ironically.
Echo Charles, Lake Echo?
Yeah, right. Which I'm wearing the joggers, by the way, today.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, the Echo joggers, the cruising joggers.
McPhil's and joggers.
Yeah, but man, they have such a cool vibe going on. Like, I highly recommend that camp as well as their products. But like, it's like summer camp. Like every summer camp movie you've ever seen. Same deal. Cabins with showers,
Okay.
with bunk beds.
Yeah.
And it's a kid's summer camp.
Okay.
And it's at the end of the season, all the kids go
kids are
back to
not-
school.
yeah.
The kids
That's
are gone.
vital
The kids are
detail.
gone. And then they're like, oh, we can keep the camp open an extra week. What can we fill with this in this time slot? And then Pete from Origin's like, let's do a jiu-jitsu camp.
Sweet.
And it's like, man, it's just so, like, the scenery there is so beautiful. Like, you land in Portland, Maine, and it's like a 2-hour drive roughly to Farmington where the camp is, and it's just hills and trees and mountains, and it's beautiful. But then you have like high level black belts, multiple black belts teaching, and then I think this last year there was at least 30 or 40 black belts from around the country that were just there participating. Yeah, right. So then, and the mats are always open. There's an outdoor mat, there's an indoor mat. It's cool enough to be rolling outdoors.
Nice. Did you roll outdoors?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then they do like a big lobster bake and, or boil.
Yeah.
I guess it is boil. Yeah. It's clam bake, but it's a lobster boil.
I don't like seafood, so
I can't have the stuff you eat.
You can't either?
No, I'm allergic. We've been over this a million times. Many of them on the show.
Yeah, pay attention.
He just cherry picks
in one ear, out the other. He's like, fucking aliens.
Where can I bring in the aliens?
But yeah, no, I really wanted to go this year. Unfortunately, schedule wise, I still have this stupid day job I'm working to get rid of. But
and Master Worlds.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I couldn't take all the time off from Masters Worlds that I wanted to take, and then basically be like, oh, I'm coming back for like a day, and then I'm leaving to go to Maine for another week.
Listen, I'll be on sabbatical. Well, remember this, they have 2 sessions for that camp. So you don't have to go the whole week. You could do session A or session B, and you'll only be gone for like 3 days. So the one I know. The one I was trying to go to this past season was Thursday to Sunday. Right. And I actually flew halfway there, and my brother-in-law passed away, so I ended up flying back and being with family. But the Origin staff, even in that scenario, was super understanding, and they just gave me a credit for next year. So
beautiful.
I'm like, I'll probably go a week next year.
Did you in the past have you rolled with Jocko and everything or no?
So right when I heard about Jocko on Joe Rogan, I started listening to his podcast, and this is actually a weird, funny, full circle story. I went out to San Diego because my good buddy who was doing the IFL stuff with me, who I've trained JKD with since I was 18, he moved to San Diego with his family. And I went and visited him, and I was like, I'm going to go train because he had to work. I flew in like on a Thursday, and he had to work Thursday, Friday, some of Saturday. So I was like, I'm going to go hit all these gyms while you're working, and I'll, get some training in. Right. So I flew in. I did the open mat at 10th Planet, and then grabbed a California burrito with Manny, and then shot over to Victory, and I had tweeted at Echo. I was like, hey, when's a good time to come over there? They're like, oh, Friday 4 p.m. class is good. So I show up, I take the class. Dean wasn't there, so I took the class with whoever was teaching at the time. Class was good. I worked with I was a blue belt at the time, so I worked with another blue belt or a white belt, I don't remember. And then towards the end of that class, you know how it is, the end of the class, then the open rolls kind of start happening, and that's when Jocko and Echo and all those guys start kind of rolling in.
They're like, I had to miss the warm-up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. And so, Echo had his daughter with him, and, and I gave her a Fight Chix sticker, and he was like, oh, Fight Chix Jake, what's up? It was totally cool. So I rolled with him, and he's funny because he kind of talks a little smack during the roll. Okay. He's like, oh, doing the lockdown. Oh, okay. And he and he was a brown belt, a Dean Lister seasoned brown belt, and I'm just a blue belt at the time. And he just got his black belt at the last Origin camp. So I don't know how long he had been a brown belt, but he was also a former college football player. He's not a very small person. No. And he's strong, but he was, I didn't do well, but I also didn't, I didn't even ask Jocko. Here, so. Yeah. I didn't even ask Jocko to roll because I was just, so like, dude, the guy's a Navy SEAL. He's a 3rd degree black belt.
I heard he's a motherfucker to roll with.
Well, so what I did do was I wanted to get a picture with him because I came, I was like, hey, Jocko, I told him, I'm like, listen, I'm just a blue belt. I didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to ask you to roll. He goes, you know how you get respect? You just step on these mats. And I was like, oh my God, you're so cool. But after that, after like the fanboying, like, he's just a regular guy, and he's so like down to earth. And, then we go out to the Origin camp last year, and he was like all these white belts were like, Jocko, will you roll with me? And he was wrecking them. like not
Murdering
even
a line
really,
of white
like,
belts.
not even like really ridiculous technique, like stuff where he would like get under his arm and then behind their other arm in like a meat hook position and then just straighten his arm out so their head was like going, like can opener style.
Yeah.
And they were like, I can get out of this. And they're like, no, you can't. It's Jocko. And he deadlifts houses. So watching that, like, and he was selective with who he was rolling with. I don't think he rolled with a lot of the, super high belts, or if he did, it was not during those particular training sessions. Yeah. But, he read us a bedtime story that Mikey and the Dragons hadn't been released yet. And he goes, hey guys. And there was like, maybe 20 guys in like the cafeteria. He goes, you guys want me to read you a bedtime story?
I'm like, serious?
Yeah.
That's
So he read like off his computer, Mikey and the Dragon. And I mean, awesome story for kids, teaches them to like face fears and not, it was good moral to the story. Spoiler alert. But yeah, that was before it had gotten released, and and then Jocko, like he does back to the book, in the podcast, just read that whole thing. So, I mean, yeah, everybody at that camp is super. It's super chill. Like it's like technique.
How many people are usually?
There was like 300.
What?
Yeah. I mean, think
That's
Enter the Dragon for
giant.
jiu-jitsu. Like it's
Holy fuck! What's the mat space look like?
a basketball court.
Really?
2 of them. There's like one indoor, one outdoor.
What do they do? Roll? They bring?
Yeah, they bring their own mats.
Wow.
Yeah, Pete, man, his attention to detail, you would love it. I mean, that's like his. Josh has told you about the Rift gi. Oh my god,
that insane thing. Yeah.
It's like a custom Italian suit, but made in America.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised I don't have one.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
surprised
shocked
too.
as well. Honestly, I thought I tempted you enough with my talk of it, but I think I ruined it for you when I was like, yeah, it's not IBJJF legal.
Oh, they have IBJJF,
But not that one.
that one's not.
That one-
Why? Because they're not making a cut off of it.
No, I don't think that's really the issue. Like because of the custom cut and the materials it's made from, I think it's not
don't
up
know.
to.
That's weird.
I thought that one wasn't. Am I thinking of a different one?
It's
the one that's like silky smooth, like right.
Well,
I'm looking for. I'm looking for a white gi, so maybe I'll.
They have
think of
This
it.
one's
they have the dragon.
Oh, they
no,
don't
they
have
have
white?
they have them
They have one
in
white
both
too.
colors.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Is
they
it
have
white, like all white, or is it stitching white, or no?
Oh yeah, it's white. Like they'll do white on white. They have some like their logos might be on it in a different color.
Okay.
But
I love that Origin rash guard that I got.
which one?
The short sleeved one. The same red and black one that Josh.
Okay,
has.
okay.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's something
Yeah,
simple.
no,
like
I know which one.
1877 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it's nice. That one's nice. I mean, all their stuff is really quality stuff, and I take their supplements. Like especially the joint warfare. Like I was like, how good is this really going to make me feel, right? And I stack it with the krill oil, and I'll tell you, man, being somebody who's over 40, rolling with 25-year-olds,
Right.
your joints start to hurt, and this stuff is like a lifesaver.
Come on. What is it called?
It's called joint warfare, and then
Which is a great play on words. I really
and
love
then
that.
and then super krill. So it's krill oil and joint warfare. And I actually brought the bottle to my chiropractor, and I said, "Look at this ingredient list. Is this like legit?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, this is a precursor for this, and this has helped rebuild ligaments."
What
and
is it? Is it a liquid or is it a pill?
No, it's pills.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big are these pills?
Like, why? You have a problem swallowing
I
pills?
do. I got a problem, man. I got
Chop
a
them up
problem.
like an old man. You get one of those little.
Put them in the
I had
yogurt. Your
an incident.
applesauce.
I had an incident when I was younger that someone had to actually do the Heimlich on me because I was swallowing these giant fucking
Horse
horse
pills.
pills.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm like,
I mean, they're like the size of
do
like an Advil gel cap,
okay, that's
Yeah.
I can handle that.
and
As long as they're not like those fucked.
but
you know what
but
I'm
I
talking
take
about?
I take like 3 of them. So
At a time.
well, I take my whole stack at a time. I don't
Yeah, I
have a
do
problem
too.
like you.
I get too nervous.
I could swallow like a 24-ounce steak if I needed to. Just
Yeah.
dump enough water down.
Yeah.
Just down the hatch.
Anyway.
Python style.
I like to try. I like to try this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my joints, I'm getting older.
Yeah.
Fucking hurting, man.
Better than the alternative
Right.
of not getting older.
Yeah, I don't take anything right now. I take vitamin C in the morning. That's about it. That's it. That's all I do. And it's chewable.
Oh wow! I was about to make it.
Like, do you drink orange juice?
I was about to make a little joke about like Flintstones vitamins, but
Yeah, they're basically like
cut me off there.
basically. Yeah, take like 2,000.
Are they the gummy ones too?
No.
Okay, not
They're
that
like the
bad.
choc-
Do you
they're like
mess
the
with
choc
CBD
ones.
at all?
I do not.
See, I got a good CBD guy too.
We've had
I don't know if CBD would even. I don't know.
We've had at least a dozen guys come on here proclaiming the benefits that they've personally experienced with CBD, and Zito's like, nah, but aliens.
But aliens, yeah. Well, guess where the CBD came from, Zito?
The aliens.
Yeah, that's right. This plant is from the aliens.
We gotta start videoing these things because people are gonna actually think that they don't see
were
our
serious.
facial expressions. They're like, fucking Zito, he's fucking out there.
I mean, you've definitely said some stuff where people
For
are
sure,
like,
but,
people
you
are like,
know.
does Zito actually believe that aliens built the pyramids? I'm like, I don't think he does, but I don't know.
It's fun to
But
talk
they had a
about,
hand
though.
in it.
It's fun to talk about. It's definitely fun. It's fun to think about. I know.
You enjoy chasing the rabbit.
I enjoy it. I enjoy being silly. I love The Matrix also. So
That's a different. That's a
I
different
heard they're
level.
making another one of those.
they are.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I
Are
hope they
you
don't fuck
really,
it
though?
up. Really? The Matrix?
The Matrix, I could get excited. I'm a huge John Wick fan though. They can make it a million of those, and I'll
I hope
watch all
John
of
Wick
them.
becomes like the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
Just keep fucking making them.
yeah.
Forever.
Just make them forever.
forever.
I don't know. How I
No
feel
more
about
dogs
that.
need to die, but
Isn't that his primary motivating factor at this point?
mean,
though, like he,
I don't know how they're going to keep spinning it up. But I think that they're on for a fourth.
they definitely are. They left
Yeah.
the last one as enough of a hanger.
Right.
There's no doubt there. They're basically just printing money with it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't see why
But
not.
that first one, I mean,
That's-
it couldn't have. I couldn't have like hit every chord for me. Like they killed the dog that your wife, who just died
Right.
of a horrible disease, gave you as like the last thing for you to love.
Right.
Kill everybody.
Kill everybody. Dude, it's such I really enjoy John Wick. It's
No, I do too. Although,
Although-
as they progress, they're getting sillier and
yeah,
sillier.
him,
for
the
sure.
last one,
It's
spoiler
over the
alert,
top.
the last one when he gets shot and he falls off the building.
And it's
And
like
he walks
I'm fine.
away. Yeah, come on.
that one I was like, really?
I'll be honest with you.
That's that special suit, bro.
The bulletproof suit
Yeah.
saves us from impact.
Super
too.
special suit. It's like, you guys didn't have to go that far with it. It's
Yeah,
Oh,
at least show him bounce off something so something breaks the fall. Like give him a little awning or
Two
like
somethings. No, he did. He bounced off the,
Yeah,
the
but they were
railing and the
hard
awning.
shit.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
like, I know. Like they would have broken his back. I'm not disagreeing.
destroyed.
But they were like, yeah, no, he's okay because he took
Give
a
him
good
like a
fall.
Scooby Doo, like a bouncy landing, something.
Yeah, like it was
No,
inflatables.
when he fell off, I'm like, oh, he's gonna land in that trash. Oh, I'm wrong.
I know.
He's landing in a dumpster with soft garbage.
No,
Yeah, none of that. Yeah, The Matrix though, I'm excited for the fourth one. I don't know where they're going to go with it.
See, I'm
but
torn on that because
Why?
I loved the original Matrix. I loved
I'm gonna have to
it.
rewatch them
And then
just
I
to,
just watched
to get
it the other day,
ready.
to be honest with you. So I'm like caught up.
You're
again.
ready.
Yeah, the two sequels weren't anywhere near as good as the first one. So like, I don't know how that's gonna feel.
I see. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
If it
about.
vibes with the original one, cool, gonna love it. But if it's like more like, oh, this is what happened after Neo died in the Matrix and this, that, and the other thing, like I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, that's one that they could do a lot with because of the premise of it, him being, a precursor to other ones. He could reinvent him every time.
I think there's a lot of potential, but
Right.
like if it's more like the first Matrix movie and less like the subsequent ones, I'll probably like it more. We don't need to get
Which
into
is interesting
a
because
litany.
I felt like the second Matrix and the third Matrix were super like geeked out,
Yeah.
as opposed to the first one not being as geeked out. And
Well-
you're like into more of that sci-fi geeky stuff.
I liked a lot of the elements of the second and third film.
Yeah.
I didn't like how they integrated with the first film and changed the tone and things like that.
I see.
So like we could sit here for a long, long time
Have the
discussing
Matrix
this.
debate.
But yeah, but the first Matrix was amazing. It was mind blowing for its time.
Did they write the first Matrix and then like, oh shit, this did really well, let's do sequels? Or did
kinda.
they have the whole
I think they had a good
thing
outline
in-
of what they wanted to
Okay.
do with it. But like the way the first Matrix ends, there's no need for a sequel. Like it's very open ended. He flies off and whatnot, and that's just like amazing. And then you come in and it's like, oh yeah, he flies now and has superpowers, and now this has to be
Now
a
it becomes a
different
Marvel
film.
movie.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of the issue. The tone of the original film, you don't know if he like you don't know if he's actually the one. Right. You know, the whole time he can do amazing things, but they're the same amazing things that the rest of his well-trained teammates can do. You know, there's so much more emotional impact. The philosophy is actually more interesting to me as well, like the way it all ties in and whatnot. And then at the end, you know, I'm the one. I have the superpowers. Fly off into the sunset. Okay, you don't need to go any further than that. Okay, but if you do, for sure, now it's a massive tonal shift because he's got superpowers.
Right.
Yeah, but then they tone his superpowers down in the last two because he's like fist fighting. Like, can't you just like jump into people and destroy them? But now you're fist fighting.
Well, I mean, they couldn't change
all that
too
training
much
during the film.
Right, like the whole tagline is "Whoa, I know kung fu." You know,
I know jujitsu.
Sorry, jujitsu. Yeah, it is.
Which he never used at all.
You don't know.
He didn't.
He didn't use Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
I don't know what jiu-jitsu he's using.
See, that's the problem here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
the Matrix jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Did you see him use jiu-jitsu?
It's different in the Matrix.
It's all kung fu training.
It's all kung fu.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I know jiu-jitsu.
Dodge bullets, dude. I mean,
he didn't have to dodge bullets though. Remember?
Because he had telekinesis at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did. But then he never. Well, he did.
No,
use
he
it in a
did.
second.
He absolutely does. Yeah, it's just like.
But only for bullets. You couldn't like stop people from hitting him.
Well, I don't know what rules and limitations he set in his own mind. Maybe he's like, oh, I can only do this for bullets.
Yeah.
I don't know. Without arguing about the internal consistency of a movie of the movie, like I said,
well, that's always the funny thing when people are like, yeah, I really like that movie, but this one part, it just didn't seem realistic to me. But all these other parts did. Like, he's doing these things.
Consistency and realism are different things, though. So, like, if you have an expectation of how something works, even if it's a wrong expectation, and then suddenly they you know, throw you a curveball, a lot of times that'll take you out of the moment. Like, it's just like, whoa, what just fucking happened? That's not how that's supposed to work, is it?
Right.
So,
like, you're caught up in that reality.
Right.
Gotcha.
Like I can totally accept the reality where Jedi can like read minds and lift shit with, you know, without touching it, and telekinesis, telepathy, you know, precognition, all this stuff just makes sense. If tomorrow they release a movie where like Jedi are flying around and shooting laser beams out of my eyes, it's not like I'm sitting there going, oh, well, this is bullshit. It's going, nobody else could do this before. What the fuck is going on? This is not what I expected out of a Force user at all.
That's one I can't get back into Star Wars. I loved it when I was a child, but
I'm still a child.
Dude, I want to go to the Disney World.
Oh, that place looks amazing.
What is it?
They have like a whole Star Wars world now.
Yeah, you could like
They
get
did
inside
that
the
one- is that
the one in
Falcon.
Florida or
and-
I
California?
think they did it in both.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've not been to either park since that experience opened
Yeah.
up.
I think it
so-
just opened up this year. So it's.
But there's more Star Wars coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney owns them. So they're just rolling them out.
There will be a lot. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Mandalorian show. That looks super cool.
No idea what you just said.
No, it's going,
I'm don't
going
doubt.
deep.
Okay, so do you remember the character of Boba Fett?
Oh, okay. I remember. I saw the preview for that. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
his origin story, essentially.
Maybe. See, they're leaving a lot of it as kind of left unsaid.
Which one was that? Who was he?
Just forget about it.
He was the bounty hunter.
Yeah, bounty.
The guy
hunter,
with the
yes.
jetpack
Yes,
and
yes,
the
yes.
armor?
Yes.
Okay.
That got eaten by the thing in the
Sarlacc?
Jedi.
Yes.
Anyhow,
You really Star Wars is your thing.
it's one of my things.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you seem to know a lot about
Strong black belt in Star Wars.
it. Strong black belt in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Brown belt, 3 stripes. I have some like alpha level nerd friends when it comes to Star Wars lore, and I'm not quite on that level.
That's the funny thing, because there's like, you get shamed if you don't know. Like, if you're talking to those people and they're like, "Oh, bro, you don't know that da 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 da." Like,
Really?
it doesn't matter. Like, calm
Well,
down. But it matters to them.
Right. That's
And
just it. Like,
so,
if
like,
you're
I'll
with a bunch of
give
sports
you an
fans,
example. So, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get the sports fan reference, but so I took my son to Riot Fest this past weekend.
Okay.
And he's got some friends who are just like these diehard, like heavy metal, and they were like giving him shit. Like, if like a song would be playing and he couldn't name the name of the song, like, oh, you're such a poser, bro. You don't even know the name of like,
Really?
like, dude, he's just let him get into the music. Like, why do you can he like the song without knowing like its inception?
Right.
Calm down. And so I'm the cool dad, right? I take him. And we're
I
like,
don't know. You tell us. How does the story
Trust
end?
me.
Yeah.
we're 10 rows back from Anthrax kicking off in the middle of the day,
Nice.
and there is like a sea of people behind us. Like, And this one kid looks to his dad, who's let's just say at least 15 years older than me, and he's like, Dad, when the music starts, I don't know if you want to be here. And then there's like two other little kids, like tiny guys, who are like, this is our first time moshing, like pulling me aside, like, this is our first time in a mosh pit. What should we expect? Because I kind of looked the part, I guess, and the other dad didn't. And then the kid who's like the hardcore, like, I know everything about Slayer and I know everything about Anthrax. He's like, bro, I'm gonna mosh so hard, like. When shit kicked off, I didn't see that kid anywhere. He vanished. And he was a bigger guy. Like he gone. Jace got sucked into the tornado that just happens to happen like 10 rows back, where you most likely to find Matt Paul at every concert. Right. That's where Jace was, and he got sucked up into that. So I'm like trying to make sure my son lives. I dive in, and I'm like, man, if something happens to Jace, Beth is going to kill
never
me.
hear the end of it.
Beth's gonna kill me. So he gets one circle, I think, rotation through that thing and gets kicked out and pushed to the front. But I never saw where he went. So I stayed in it, just like in the washing machine, lost my shoe twice, got it returned to me twice. So it was kind of nice. And then I ended up finding him like after the fact. He lost his phone, like it got squished out of him. So that's why I got upgraded to the iPhone 11 Pro. Thanks, Jace. And I'm like, you did that shit on purpose, knowing that the new phones came out. Well, guess what? You're just getting my 10. And then, I mean, that was like the worst of it, because by the time Slayer went on,
I mean, these names are what I grew up. This is the 90s.
Yeah. No, they're still alive.
What
I mean,
the fuck?
one of the
Shockingly still alive.
One of the Anthrax guys was like, this song's off of our second album in '85. I was like, you guys were playing in '85?
Damn. Because I used to skateboard. I used to have Anthrax stickers on my fucking skateboard.
Right. Yeah, Anthrax, Slayer. So like,
fuck.
I mean, the full pyrotechnics. I mean,
What do they look like?
old
man.
Old,
These
but
young
they could
kids
still,
are like,
dude, they were so into it. Really? I mean, there was a lot of like the young kids were into it, but there was a lot of like just all walks of life. I mean, there were so many people. The Wu-Tang was on the same bill, so it was like ridiculous.
The whole clan.
I didn't check. I was so far away from that stage because there was so many people in front of it. I mean, it was, man.
Oh, there's like multiple stages.
Multiple stages at Riot Fest. Yeah.
Where was it held at?
Douglas Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have like, I think they had like 4 stages, and then so they'd have a stage here, and then like further away stages in other parts of the park. But like if this one stage left was playing, stage right would be waiting. They finished, then stage right would light up with their band, so they would offset them so you could see other acts. But if there was like one that you wanted to wait for, you go get your position. Right.
I see.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Was it?
Yeah,
I don't like large
it's
crowds,
a
man. I don't
dude.
think
It's a
I do.
3-day.
What?
It's a 3-day thing. You can buy pass to all 3 days, or just go one day. We just went the one day.
What time does it start?
Gates open at like 11, I think. So first band's at 11, or till the last band goes on at like 9:30 at night.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was a long day. So like the Slayer mosh pit was very chill compared to Anthrax, where people still had energy. Yeah, they're just like, oh, we're still here.
Wow.
But yeah, it was intense. I'd never seen those bands live, and I was like, okay, now I'm deaf.
Yeah, right? Yeah, for real. It's got to be loud.
It was loud. Super loud. But I actually appreciated them more seeing them live, because Jace was like playing the music.
How do you get into it? Because you listen to him?
No.
How do you get into it?
His friends. Yeah, his friends were listening to it. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I'm like,
Everything
oh,
that's
this is
old
better
is new
than
again.
mumble rap. So I'm like, cool.
Yeah, right?
Go listen to some. I mean, they're listening to, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin. Like, they're listening to good music.
Wow.
And now they're on to the death metal phase. So it's cool.
It's okay. King
The natural progression.
Diamond's still out there?
I don't know.
Wasn't playing Riot Fest. That's what Jake said.
No.
Right now.
I remember that guy. Ozzy Osbourne, King Diamond.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, Ozzy wasn't at it. I mean, and they have kind of different nights. So like the night we went was more
Metal.
geared towards the metal.
Oh, okay.
And then like I think like Blink 182 was on Friday
Oh,
night.
really?
Yeah. And then I don't know who was headlining Sunday night.
Taylor
but
Swift, probably.
yeah.
She's everywhere.
She's everywhere.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. Jake, where can people find you?
I am Fight Chix Jake on all the social medias. So Twitter, and Instagram are probably the easiest.
Yeah.
And I will do a 20% off code for all your listeners. We'll let's see. I'll make it real simple. We'll go Grappler Union 20. That'll be easy.
Sweet.
And just want to thank you guys for having me, and also please come train with me and the guys at 10th Planet. Javi.
10th Planet Chicago.
10th Planet Chicago. Yeah, 10th Planet Chicago. I'll give you the address.
Because it's a new location, right?
Yeah, new location, 5711 North Milwaukee. Huge facility, outstanding training. Josh is no nonsense, and he's a ton of fun. So come on out and roll.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, for
Finally,
sure.
right?
I know.
It only took like 100 and something episodes to get him in.
Yeah,
126.
Fucking
Can we use this name? Sure. What are you guys doing? Podcast?
Founder of the fucking name. Like, that's a fucking good name, Jake. You mind if we use it? Yeah, sure, go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
like, all
yeah.
right, cool.
It's awesome.
Never have him on then. Assholes we are. Anyway.
You have a new host before you had me on.
Right? It's fucked up.
Hey, I get stuff done.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. So I didn't finish my Jocko story.
Finish the Jocko story.
Basically, we did one UFC sponsorship, and that was Fabricio Verdum. We sponsored him. We had a logo on his shorts in the UFC. I don't remember the number, but it was like the first time they came to Chicago, right? And it couldn't have gone worse because he was fighting a first-time newcomer to the UFC named Junior Dos Santos, who starched him in the first round. And we had like a whole after party set up for Junior that he didn't come to.
For Verdum, you mean?
Or for Verdum. We should have done it for Junior, because thanks.
Foresight.
But, yeah, so we had like and it was at the Allstate, but the after parties are obviously in Chicago, so we had to like provide transportation. So we had a limo. So we at the time we knew who Dean Lister was, and we didn't know him well, but we knew one of our models who worked in Utah, like had dated him, and she knew all the Team Punishment guys. So, and that's another funny story. But so we like hit up Dean, hey, we're going to the city. Do you want to come with us? Because Verdum's not coming to our after party. And he's like, oh, I'll come. Yeah, cool. So he grabs his, like the people that he was with. Mm-hmm. And then we take this picture in the limo. It was Miss Rara from the Underground, who's a longtime staple in Fight Chix. She was in town for it. My wife, Elizabeth. Hermes Franca, the rapist.
We didn't know that at the time.
We didn't know that at the time. But yeah, he's in jail now. And then Dean. And then in the way back, this guy with like, kind of a square jaw and a buzz cut, making a fist pose, Jocko Willink.
Really?
Was in the limo. And then we got to, I think it was Level at the time, was where the after party was. Yeah. They came up for like a drink or two, and then they bounced to like another party. But I was like, going back and like remembering everything, I looked and I just remembered that photo, and I zoom in. I'm like, holy shit, there's Jocko Willink, and he was in the limo with us. So,
oh shit,
yeah, pretty crazy.
Small world.
It was a small world.
See? Small fucking world, dude.
That was the safest limo ride ever.
Yeah, for real, right? Well, except for that one guy.
Yeah, but I think Jocko probably could have taken him.
Probably.
Too.
Yeah, for sure. Should have took him out.
He would have used him as a weapon on somebody else, probably.
We should do this more often. Normally when we kill the podcast, and then we talk about shit afterwards, we're like, fuck, I forgot about that. Dude, we got to
just fire those mics right back
Actually,
up.
I'm just going to fake people out. No, I can't do that, because sometimes we talk a little
too much.
A little too much secret talk.
All right, so little bit of bonus on the episode this time for real.
And don't forget, October 13th, 1525 Circle is where Ferrer Pan Fitness Factory is located, and that's when the PreventCancer.org jiu-jitsu event is going to be happening. So
more details to come.
Yeah. All right. Ciao.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. For more information about Grappler Union Podcast, you could visit us at our website at grapplerunion.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Grappler Union. Please like us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. And all of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel. Say what?
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to all that shit. You got to do another take, right?
Oh.